Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't, but let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI SET, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it up one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is SET and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor. And all right, guys, we are back. Yo, this is SET with SET Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we got Trump facing the press. We got Pam Bondi facing the press. And also, we got a Scott Besson interview. All right, guys, let's make sure we double tap that screen and like the video. Let's get right into it.
How are you? We had a big day in Pittsburgh, $92 billion, but it's going to be closer to $100 billion. It's going to be invested by the biggest financial people in the world. Everybody there from Larry Fink to everybody else you can imagine. And it was a really great day and a very productive day. I think we're over now as a country, we're over $15 trillion of investment, and there's never been anything like that. In the history of our country, there has not been anything like it or even close. So, okay, do you have any questions?
Mr. President,
The Indonesia deal today. You announced the Indonesia trade deal today. How many more trade deals beyond the letters will you announce before August 1st?
We're working on probably 5 or 6. Of the 5 or 6, I'm not sure I really want to do them. You know, you want somebody that knows how to negotiate, but we'll probably have 2 or 3. You know, we insist on opening up the country, which is a big deal. Indonesia was great. He's a great president. And we made a terrific deal where they opened up the entire country to trade with the United States. We weren't allowed to go in and trade. I think something similar will happen with I would say, India. And we have a couple of others. But I have to tell you, for the most part,
So far, Trump has sent out a total of 22 letters. Yes, 22 letters to countries telling them what the new trade policy is going to be. Pretty much telling them that, yeah, you're going to pay this tariff, and this is what's going to be until you change it. Or until August 4th, they're going to enact on August 1st. So that gives them a little bit of time to go ahead and work something out or just accept what we give them. So Trump was right. Look, it's either they can come make a deal or we're just going to start handing out deals. He kept his promise on that.
Very happy with the letters. You know, the letters are a deal. You know, I can't explain it any better. The letters are a deal. The press doesn't want to pick that up. But I will veer from those deals on occasion when somebody is willing. Like if Japan would open up their country, they don't do that. They just don't do that. And I don't either. I don't subscribe to it one way or the other. But they won't do that. So we might just stick with the letter. But South Korea is inclined to maybe do that. So we'll let you know. But We have letters out. Every time I send out a letter, essentially that's a deal.
Yeah, so he's pretty much giving these countries an option. It's like, look, you can either accept this new tariff, because we're no longer going to let you guys just sell into our country for free. That's done. But you guys can either accept the tariff, or you can give us some leeway. You can give us some access into your economy. And then maybe we'll be able to give, a reduction in the tariffs. Maybe that bottom 10% that Trump is talking about.
President, on you, which is the date you gave of August 1st, but the date that you gave of August 1st, right. Why stick with the date if you're saying that
payments start on August 1st. The only thing that's really sacred about August 1st is that's when payments start. So they have to start paying billions of dollars to you and people. Are you a citizen of the country?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. You'll be very happy because you're going to be getting a lot of money. Just like they found a budget surplus. We have a budget surplus of $25 billion. Everyone said, how did that happen? It hasn't happened in many years. It happened because of good management and tariffs.
I mean, yeah, we have a surplus of about, I heard $27 billion. So I'm like, I guess Trump is like $2 billion off. But yeah, we are actually in the green for the last month in June. For the one time in a long time, we are actually in the green.
President, do you plan to release more details of the Vietnam, China deals? Is there going to be paperwork released to the public showing that?
I don't think it matters how much you release of the deal. We have a Vietnam deal, and I would say...
Oh, guys, let's remember to double tap that screen and like the video. Appreciate the support, by the way, but let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen.
That deal is being pretty well set. It's pretty well set. Again, that's an opening of their country. They've opened it up. Just so you know, these were closed countries. They were wonderful people, wonderful leaders, very strong, smart leaders. But their countries were closed to us, but our country wasn't closed to them. And so I said, you got to open up your country. So we're going to see. But the Vietnam deal, we may open it. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you. Is it necessary? No. Yeah, I don't think so.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, why did you settle on giving Putin another 50 days? It seems like he's had a lot of time to show he wants peace.
I don't think it's a long time. I think really the question should be asked, why did Biden get us into that ridiculous war? Why did Biden bring us there? That should never, ever have happened, that war. This is Biden's war. I'm just trying to end it.
Why do you think
a lot of lives?
Why do you think his opinion will change in 50 days when it hasn't over the last 6 months?
Very rapidly.
Because the threat of tariffs, 100% tariff on all imports in Russia, that's going to kill them. And then pretty much Trump saying there's going to be secondary tariffs of anybody who's buying, Russian oil. So, yeah, he's kind of putting Russia in the hot seat, and also, anybody who purchased Russian oil, pretty much their allies.
Might not be 50 days. Might be much sooner than 50 days.
To that end, when do you think the first Patriot missiles, some of these weapons that our allies will buy?
They're already being shipped.
From what countries?
Coming in from Germany and then replaced by Germany, and in all cases, the United States gets paid back in full.
Have you started?
What's happening, as you know, is the European Union, if you look, mostly European Union stuff, but let's put it in the form of NATO. It's very similar. But NATO is going to pay us back for everything. In some cases, we're going to be paid back by countries of the European Union directly.
Are we starting to see those payments?
Yes, the Ukraine's weapon deal pretty much involves NATO buying weapons from the U.S. to go ahead and give to, Ukraine. I mean, hey, it's a whole lot better than just giving money to these guys all willy-nilly without getting anything in return. Now we're giving weapons, as long as NATO buys them, and then NATO will go ahead and facilitate the delivery of them. So we kind of have our hands off it in a way. We're just over here, getting paid to supply the weapons in the war. I mean, hey, it's a better position than what we were doing under Biden. I'll tell you that.
Getting our money back in full. So we're not going to have any more investment to make. We're getting our money back in full. And if we can make a deal, that'd be great. We're saving 5,000 or 6,000 soldiers a week. They're Russian and they're Ukrainian soldiers. They're not American soldiers. And we won't have boots on the ground. But it's a shame. 5,000. Last week, they say 7,100 soldiers, both Russian and Ukraine, were killed.
Can I ask you about Iran? Have you seen any progress in talks with Iran? We haven't really heard about that in a while.
Well, they want to talk. I'm in no rush to talk. They would like to talk. I'm in no rush to talk because we obliterated their site. They'd have to start all over. In fact, it's obliterated to the point that it's not usable anymore. They'd have to pick a different mountain. That mountain is so blown up inside and so unstable that they would have to pick a different mountain. Our people really did the job. Yes, please.
On the fence, sir.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Fordo facility was rendered inoperable, pretty much made it caved in on itself. So, yeah, they got the job done. Now, as far as did all the uranium get hit, I mean, only time will tell, huh?
Would you fire Jerome Powell over the Treasury renovation?
Well, we spent $2.5 million building this place. I have to say this. I think he's terrible. I think he's a total stiff. But the one thing I didn't see him as a guy that needed a palace to live in. You talk to the guy, it's like talking to a nothing. It's like talking to a chair. No personality, no high intelligence, no nothing. But the one thing I would have never guessed is that he would be spending $2.5 billion to build a little extension onto the Fed. Nobody's ever seen. I think it sort of is, because if you look at his testimony to the House and the Senate, you take a look at the testimony, it's under it. That whole thing is, he's not talking about the problem. It's a big problem. $2.5 billion, and that's $2.5 billion now. That's going to be a lot more money than $2.5 billion.
Oh, guys, let's make sure we double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen. You have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? $2 and up. I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it.
To expand, and with all of that, to house thousands of people to give him information, and yet out of the 71 economists, and they included me and one other person got it right. I got it right, and one other genius got it right. They had everybody else was wrong. 69 were wrong, and 2 were right. I was one of them. And I don't have a lot of people. I have Howard. I have Doug. I have a few people. He has thousands of people, and he got it wrong. No, I think when you spend $2.5 billion on really a renovation, I think it's pretty disgraceful.
On the Fed chair, sir.
Have you spoken to President Putin since your announcement yesterday?
No, I haven't.
And do you think when you speak to him on the phone, does he say that he wants peace?
Yeah.
What does he say to you?
He says he wants peace. Yeah. So far, it's all talk and no action.
Do you believe him? I mean,
But, you know, if you think about it, India, Pakistan, we did so many. The Congo, and I mean, look at the deals we've made. We made all these peace.
Here's the thing. All peace deals seem to stop as soon as, well, Putin got back from almost being assassinated. After that, it was a complete barrage on, well, Ukraine, and it has been nothing but that since. Just been the constant back and forth between them. Now, well, Russia's honestly over dominating them. That's why Ukraine is reaching out for weapons and air defense missiles, is because Russia pretty much, well, one, got more firepower than them, and they need to be supplied, and Ukraine needs to be supplied firepower. That is one of the problems I disagree with in this war, that I hate about this war, I'd say, is that, well, Russia don't need financing. Nobody's financing Russia's war. But Ukraine, they're getting financed for their war. Like if nobody was to sit there and put no weapons behind them or any money, they'd be forced to surrender. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. Now, I mean, thank God, I guess we're giving them the weapons without actually giving it to them, but them buying it from us. Like, I'm glad we got that relationship figured out. But further on down the line, though, I wonder where this is going to lead.
Deal. Look at Rwanda. It was an impossible deal to make with the Congo. I made that. I made all of these deals, Serbia, Kosovo, and here's the one deal. And actually, Vladimir called me up. He said, I'd love to help you with respect to making a deal with a couple of them, like Iran. I'd love to help you. I say, Vladimir, I only want to help with one deal, Russia, because you're the only deal that we're not doing too well on. He oftentimes he said, no, he wants peace. And I think he does. I hope he does. We're going to find out soon. And it could be before the 50 days.
Mr. President, twice yesterday, when you were talking about this, you mentioned conversations you had with the First Lady after talking with President Putin. Has she influenced your thinking on this at all?
She's very smart. She's very neutral. She's very neutral in this sense. She's sort of like me. She'd like to see people stop dying. You know, people said, are you for one side or another? I'm for the side of people stopping dying. We have 5,000, 6,000, and 7,000 people a week at least. And that doesn't include people from the cities and towns that are having rockets lobbed in there. I mean, people are dying in the cities and towns too, but we're talking about 7,100 in the last 8 days died. And I'm for stopping that.
On the Fed chair search, sir, is Scott Bessent, your Treasury Secretary, your number one option whenever Jerome Powell leaves? Or
well, he's an option.
Is he your top option?
Very good. Well, he's not, because I like the job he's doing.
Right.
That's why he's
And he couldn't do both, sir?
I like that. Yeah, I don't know if he was on the phone. Maybe he wasn't. But I do like the job he's done.
Right.
So, in that sense, probably he's not that much of an option.
Right.
Scott's been great. He's been terrific. He did a good job today. He's a very soothing force. You know, he's soothing. All right.
Mr. President.
The pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals will be tariffed probably at the end of the month. And we're going to start off with a low tariff and give the pharmaceutical companies a year or so to build. And then we're going to make it a very high tariff, because we got to move them in. Look, there's two ways you do it.
Okay, so he's finally putting his foot down on the pharmaceutical companies, pretty much saying, all right, look, y'all get at 10% or maybe 20% so you guys can, make sure you move production over to here in America. And then once you guys do that, we're going to go ahead and protect our domestic industry by raising tariffs on any pharmaceuticals that's being imported. So, hey, I mean, Trump, once again, low-key handling business. I'll give him that. That's actually a great strategy.
You make money or you have them move here so they don't have to pay the tariff. Those are the two ways. The pharmaceutical companies are moving back to America where they should be.
Mr. President.
Is that in the same timeline? The semiconductor tariff?
Similar. Actually less complicated, but similar. Semiconductors and chips.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled? Why do you think that is?
Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't.
So see, yeah, I can see that Trump hasn't been really read into this whole Epstein case, because bro, it goes deep. Like, there could be people in your cabinet, you yourself, that could be compromised by this Epstein list or client list, or emails or whatever. Like, whatever evidence the DOJ and the FBI is not showing, it needs to be showed, because if it does put Trump on there, then you need to clear your name, just like Alan Dershowitz did. The lady came out and said, hey, yo, you did this to me. He proved it wrong. I mean, if Alan Dershowitz can defend himself, Trump can too, and so could the rest of politicians who may be on there.
The credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
I don't know, man. The biggest blackmail operation in history? Like, that ain't boring, especially when it leads to billionaires, politicians, presidents of the America, world leaders in other countries. Trump, you ain't read in on it. It's pretty damn interesting.
And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
Mr. President, a question on AI. How do you want Americans to think about it? Are you concerned about job loss or privacy, or do you think this is the new technology?
It's interesting because we need jobs. We need a lot of people to work. We're going to be building very shortly hundreds of factories, including AI. We're building a lot of car factories. They're all coming in from other countries now in order to avoid paying the tariffs. And we need people working. So if AI can help us with that, that's a positive. Because we're not going to have enough workers to take care of it if we don't create something. So whether it's robots or whether it's AI, we need somebody to take care of it. Do you agree with that?
I agree. So many jobs to build. Think about it. $15 trillion. That's 5 million people working in these factories, building them great high-paying jobs in America that President Trump has brought back. So those jobs, of course, are in the wings. So let's go, let's train America, and let's get it going.
What would you say about this, John?
Well, I think with AI, as Howard, the president, said, we're going to need more workers in this country because President Trump is the greatest economic developer that this country's ever had. Has brought back this record amount of foreign direct investment and a record amount of U.S. investment going back into job creation. But the mix is going to change.
Here's the thing, though. This opened up jobs across the board, not just in factories or in the automation sector. But I mean, think about your accountants that's going to need to be there. Think about, I don't know, your maintenance guys is going to need to be there. All of that's like job creation across the board when all these factories or these data centers start getting built. Like, that's the thing that everybody's not taking into account, though, is the job creation that Trump is about to have. It's going to be a job boom. And I mean, will unemployment go down or up? Well, we'll see.
AI will take jobs away like software development because AI.
Some people don't take advantage of, when things just start to pop off.
Can write code, but AI can't wire a building, do plumbing. I mean, if kids go into the trades today, they're all going to be making 150 grand and they'll have amazing lives, build companies, start businesses. I mean, this is part of the boom of America because middle class, working Americans will never have had it as good. They have a lower taxes, lower regulation, and more opportunities to go to work to build things.
We need people. We really need, because we're building so many factories in the country. And so AI can help with that. But what also is going to help are going to be robots. The robots, I think, are going to be a big deal. And that's going to help also.
On the Russian sanctions, sir, on the secondary tariffs, are you concerned that secondary tariffs on buyers of Russian oil will hurt American consumers, higher gasoline prices?
I don't think so. I think that whole thing is going to go away eventually. It should have gone away. And Putin does say, I want peace. But so far, he hasn't lived up to that. So I think it's going to go away. But we're going to find out soon.
Can you give us more details on the sanctions? Is it 100%?
And guys, if you guys are doubting the job creation, maybe you should check the job numbers that for the past, 6 months. Yes, for the past 6 months, Trump has added about 100K plus jobs to the market, to the job market. So yeah, his plan is already working to add jobs to the job market already. So he's already at about 600 to 700,000 jobs. So yeah, you guys talk about, no, this won't create jobs and all this good stuff. It already has. It already has, guys. I mean, you were wrong about 2 months ago.
I don't want to do that. But they're very biting. They're very significant. And they're going to be very bad for the countries involved. I mean, they'll be very, very powerful and very bad for the countries involved. And I hope we don't have to pull that string. And maybe we won't. We'll see. It's got to end. Got to stop the killing.
Mr. President, were you frustrated today that the House wasn't able to move on that crypto legislation?
No, the interesting thing is the 12 votes were votes where they wanted it to be stronger in terms of crypto people. I figured, wow, that's sort of interesting because I was focused really on today's meeting, not that. But the interesting is the votes, those negative votes, were because they wanted it to be, as the state cuts, they wanted it to be stronger for people with Bitcoin or crypto. They wanted more strength, which is interesting.
What do you want to refine in the UK trade deal?
We have a little to discuss, but the deal is really very well done. But I'll meet with the Prime Minister. We have a good relationship. And I think it's going to be, and it'll be very shortly, and it'll be probably in Aberdeen, Scotland.
Mr. President, at the event,
Which state besides Texas would you like Republicans to gerrymander?
Say it again.
Which state besides Texas would you like Republicans to redraw the congressional?
Well, there's about 4 of them. I'll let you figure that one out, but we have about 4 of them. In 3 cases, it's 1, and in 1 case, it's 2 or 3. Texas would be 5.
Are you concerned California will turn around and do the same thing to Republicans?
They're so corrupt in California, you never know what's going to happen. But we've done pretty well in the courts in California, as you see. We're batting about 1,000, ultimately. We start off a little slow, and then we get a lot of hits.
Mr. President, you said today at the event in Pittsburgh that if it wasn't for Mr. Lutnick, Mr. Besson, who want to do more deals, that you would basically just go with the letters. You've said that a few different times. I just want to clarify. Do you just want to go with the tariffs and move on?
They would like to make deals more than me. I'm satisfied with, but they would like to make deals.
I mean, yeah, when you're the one handing out the deals, telling them what they're gonna pay, I'm pretty sure they'd rather make that deal. Like, let's be honest, Trump does have the leverage here, which a lot of people don't want to accept, because us being the biggest buyer out of all these companies, or in all these companies in these countries, they don't want to miss out on those profits, and they don't want to miss out on the biggest market, well, the biggest consumer market in the world. So they kind of do have to capitulate, or they can just accept the tariffs that we're giving them, and they could just be like, oh, well, it is what it is. I mean, here's the thing. Trump put that crazy tariff on coffee, and oh man, I mean, that one was tough.
I'm not saying they're wrong. In my opinion, he and Scott and maybe even Doug to a certain extent, you're more like me, I think. But they would like to make deals more than me. I'm very happy with the deals the way they are. Those are very, right? Those are very simple deals. It's whatever the percentage is. And we base that on a lot of things, including the deficit and, various things. And I think it's a much faster way. Don't forget, we'll be releasing a letter soon talking about many countries that are much smaller, where you're not going to do letters per se. You might do an individual letter, but it's going to go very quickly. And the number will also be less.
Which countries are those?
These are countries that are, many of them.
Well, guys, you've got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, you can just send it in, $2 or up. Appreciate the support, guys. And like I said, if we hit the goal, go ahead and open up the call-in line and hear out some of the naysayers and the supporters. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going.
Like 200 countries, right?
Caribbean countries, African countries. You have a huge amount of countries that are small, and the president's just going to deal with them sort of the way he thinks is the right way to deal with them.
We'll probably set one tariff for all of them.
Over 10%? Over 10% tariff?
Probably a little over 10%. Yeah.
15, 20?
We don't do a lot of business, but we do, it's still significant.
Right. What about Israel, Mr. President? Is that related to your other, like the Gaza negotiations? Is that tied up in other issues?
No, I think Israel's going to be fine. We had a great victory with Israel. That was a great victory. What we did with the B-2 bombers and all of that. And, I never thought of it, but so many people are thanking me. They say no president had the guts to do it because, this has been going on for 25 years. In fact, when the pilots came to the Oval Office, they said, sir, we and our predecessors have been working on this attack for 25 years. Have a good time.
That's crazy. I was just looking this up. So crypto bill did pass that. Later voting changed. I mean, all right, perfect. Because I was looking at it now, and it did say that it did change to what? Senate passed it on June 17th, 2025. And I think this is with the Genius Act, 6830. Now, I'm going to make sure I look a little bit more into it. I'm not sure if that's the exact crypto bill. I'm pretty sure that those are parts of it. It's like a 3-part thing. Was it the Genius Act? So did your Asset Market Clarity Act and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act?
Everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
President.
You're just listening in there to President Trump as he answers quite a few.
And all right, guys, let me just go ahead to Trump's second appearance to the press in one day. I mean, one as he gets onto the plane and one when he gets right back to the White House. All right, guys, let's get right into it.
We brought our star along here. We're going to Pittsburgh. We're going to be touting about, actually, going to be numbers like nobody's ever heard before. It's mostly to do with AI. We have tremendous investments being made, literally trillions of dollars of investments being made in our country on AI, artificial intelligence. I don't know if the word artificial is a good word, but that's the word. That's what they've chosen. So I think we're going to have a very successful trip. We had a good call with the Texas congressman this morning, as you probably heard, and that went very well. And you have any questions? Yeah. Very slight. Essentially, they were exactly as anticipated. Very low inflation. So what you should do is lower the rate. The Fed should lower the rate immediately. We had a big win with the Supreme Court on the Department of Education. We want, as you know, we want to bring education back to the states, take the federal government out of it. a little tiny bit of supervision, but very little, almost nothing, like to make sure they speak English. That's about all we need. But,
Okay, that's wild.
well, we have school choice, and we're getting school choice approved all over the country.
You can make
We
sure they
just
speak
got it
English.
done in Texas, and school choice is the answer. Yes, I see.
Yes, it is.
Well, at the end of 50 days, if we don't have a deal, it's going to be too bad. Well, the tariffs are going to go on, and
Oh, guys, yep, and we're at 98 until we open up the calling line and run conspiracy hour. Appreciate the support.
other sanctions go on. No, he shouldn't target Moscow. No, we're not looking to do that.
Mr. President, why are you giving Mr. Putin 50 additional days to prosecute his war against you?
Oh, I don't think 50 days is very long.
I mean, shoot, I don't think Putin gonna last 50 days. The way this man is siphoning money from his oligarch. I mean, look, he's imprisoning his own oligarch. He's stealing their assets to fund the war. Like, this man Putin is going balls to the walls right now, and he don't give a damn. I mean, he's destroying his own oligarchy. He don't give a damn right now. This is why I say it's a bit scary with this man Putin, because his back's to the wall, and I'm afraid of what this man might do. Because when you just start going around the oligarch table and be like, yeah, I need your land, I want your company, I need you. Oh, you got something to say about it? Okay, well, out the window. And that's like literally what's been happening. And I got a video for y'all later on in the stream to show that.
And it could be sooner than that. I don't think 50 days is very long. You should have asked that same question to Biden. Why did he get us into this war? You should ask that question. Yeah, and what did he tell you? Why did he get us into this war? You know why he got us in? Because he's a dummy. That's why. And you don't cover it right. But you should be asking that question to Biden. Why did he get us into this war? Because he's incompetent. It would have never happened if I were president. Go ahead.
You go shut down.
So we made a deal with Indonesia. I spoke to their really great president, very popular, very strong, smart. And we made the deal. We have full access to Indonesia, everything. As you know, Indonesia is very strong on copper, but we have full access to everything. We will pay no tariffs. So they are giving us access into Indonesia, which we never had. That's probably the biggest part of the deal. And the other part is they are going to pay 19%.
All right, so as of July 15th through the 16th, the U.S. and Indonesia finalized a trade deal arrangement for intensive negotiation ahead of the August 1st, August 1st trade deficit deadline. All right, so the tariffs are 19% tariff imposed on Indonesian exports to the U.S., down from the threatened 32%. So Indonesia came to that table pretty damn quick when they got 32%. So, all right, then. So I guess they knew what to do. And zero tariffs on U.S. exports to Indonesia. So, AKA, we hit them with the 19% tariff and we get zero. And we have market access. So Indonesia agreed to provide full market access for American goods, including critical minerals like nickel, copper, and the energy sector products. So, I mean, oh yeah, and they're also confirmed to buy about 50 Boeing jets, 15 billion in U.S. energy products, and 4.5 billion in agricultural exports. Hey, appreciate you, Indonesia. Good looks.
And we are going to pay nothing. I think it's a good deal for both parties, but we will have full access into Indonesia. And we have a couple of those deals that are going to be announced. India basically is working along that same line. We're going to have access into India. And you have to understand, we had no access into any of these countries. Our people couldn't go in. And now we're getting access because of what we're doing with the tariffs. So they're paying 19%, and we are not paying anything. And they're going to give us full access into Indonesia. Now, Indonesia has some great product, and they also have some very valuable earths and various other materials. One of the things, as you know, they're known for is very high quality copper, which we'll be using.
Do you believe your tariffs might have led for inflation to increase last month? Do you think they had any role?
Well, we had very little inflation. I don't know. Who do you work for?
USA Today.
What?
USA Today.
Oh, well, they wrote me a beautiful article the other day, so I can't get angry at you. USA Today just wrote a very good article about me. What's that all about? So I can't get angry at you. No, there was very little inflation, as you know. The numbers were very good, very much inside the margin. So we've had no inflation. All we have is we're making a fortune. We are taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. You saw we had a surplus of $25 billion last month, which we haven't had in many, many years. We are doing it because I'm able to do it.
Here.
Nobody else would be able to do it. We have tariffs going on because we want tariffs. And
all right, so the latest U.S. Custom Price Index data shows of June 2025. Let's see. Headline inflation is at about 2.7 year over year and has risen from May's 2.4. So inflation has went up 0.3%. So 0.3%. I mean, that's inflation, though. It does go back and forth. When it skyrockets, like under Biden, that's when it's a problem. But when it goes to that little 3%, little back and forth, all right, we're cool. Now, if it goes over into that 3%, instead goes past that 2.7 into the threes, all right, then there'll be room for concern.
We want the money coming into the United States. But more important than the money, there's two aspects to tariff. There's the money, which comes in. The other aspect is that rather than paying the tariffs, the country or the company will build in the United States, make their product in the United States, and that creates jobs. And I would say of the two, probably the more important to me is that. Yeah.
Are you on Ukraine? Are you on Ukraine?
I mean, that's one thing the CBO or no economist is honestly, accounting for. And the thing is, how can you? It's a wild card that we're going on. These companies are promising to bring production here that's going to create new jobs, new tax revenue, all that good stuff. And like I said, this will due to these new jobs, this could make up for this, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. It could pay for that 3.2 trillion that they're talking about. Well, honestly, is the 3.2 trillion is mostly in tax cuts, believe it or not.
Side now? No, I'm on nobody's side. I'm the no. I want to, what the side I'm on? Humanity's side. I want to stop the killing of thousands of people a week. I want to stop the killing. I want the killing to stop in the Ukraine-Russia war. That's the side I'm on.
Mr. President, your daughter-in-law said that there was transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with this?
The attorney general.
Guys, let's make sure you double tap that screen and like the video. Appreciate the support, by the way. But yes, let's make sure you double tap that screen and support this show by super chatting in. You can get it. You can give it a question, comment, joke, or disagreement. Appreciate the support, guys.
General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that. And I think the Attorney General's handled it very well. On what? On what subject? Okay. A very, very quick briefing. Yeah. No. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
All right. And Speaker Mike Johnson has also pushed for the release of the Epstein files as well, even though, the Republicans had a vote not to release it. Now, there were some yeses on there, but that's the problem. That's why it needs to be released. Because the fact that y'all went behind our backs, voted on it, and some of y'all literally voted yes, yeah, okay. this is why we need a release. We need to pull every one of their cards as well, Republican or not. I don't care.
And then what if California, New York, Illinois, and other places? Yeah, well, that's okay too, but 5. I think we get 5. And there could be some other states. We're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one, and that'll be 5. No, just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats. But we have a couple of other states where we'll pick up seats also.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
Well, when he was in my office.
What did you tell him when he was in your office?
I told him he's doing a very bad job. He's way late. That's why I call him too late. Jerome Powell is too late. He's way late. Interest rates should be coming down. We have a very, very successful country. We should have the lowest interest rate anywhere in the world, and we don't. Jerome Powell has done a terrible job, and frankly, I don't think he could do a worse job. He's called everything wrong. So they had a report come out the other day, 71 different economists.
Now, all right, guys, let me just go ahead and explain this to you guys, because here are the main pros and cons of cutting interest rates. So 1, here's the pros: stimulates economic growth. 2, boost customer spending. 3, reduce debit burden. I mean, that's the main reason why we want it cut. It's really reason 3. 4, increase business investment. 5, it weakens the currency, but then that basically boosts exports. Now, here are the cons: risk of inflation, discourages savings, asset bubbles. I mean, that's a pretty bad one. Weaker currency, it can hurt imports, and limited effectiveness of the Federal Reserve if it's ever needed later on. Like, if you use it too much, then I mean, you're kind of like dulling the. I would say think of it like a knife. If you keep using the knife too much, then the knife's going to get dull and ain't going to be as effective.
And me, you know who is right? Me. Did you know that? I was right.
I did know, Mr. President. Are you going to appoint Mr. Powell to another term as Fed chair?
You must be kidding.
Have you started
You must be kidding. That's a funny one coming. You had to waste a question like that.
Oh, hey, if you care about, reducing the debt burden, stimulating the economy, and boosting consumer spending, then hey, cut the rate. Now, if you are too fearful of the risk of inflation, asset bubbles, and weakened currency, then I see your concern.
No, we are talking to the EU, and we're making progress. But look, we already have a deal with the EU. It's called the letter that was sent out. I think it was 30%. That's the EU. But we, at the same time, we are talking. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, your reaction to Andrew Cuomo staying in the New York City mayor's race. Andrew Cuomo staying in the New York City mayor's race.
I think he should stay. I think he has a shot.
Would you prefer him over?
Well, I don't want to say. I'm a Republican. He's a Democrat or an independent. No, I think Andrew would have a good shot of winning. He's got to run a tough campaign. He's running against the communists. I would think that he would have a good shot of winning.
Tell us about your trip to Scotland, sir. What are you going to do on your trip to Scotland?
We're going to be meeting with the British Prime Minister, very respected. And we are going to have a meeting with him probably in Aberdeen. And we're going to do a lot of different things. And we're going to also refine the trade deal that we've made. So we'll be meeting mostly with at probably one of my properties, or maybe not, depending on what happens. But we'll be in Aberdeen in Scotland, meeting with the Prime Minister.
Mr. President, what's your preferred message for the EU if they retaliate the tariffs?
Well, I don't know how they can retaliate. They've made a lot of money. They've treated us very badly, but now they're treating us very nicely. And I think we'll end up, I think everybody's going to be happy with the EU.
What's your preferred candidate?
Given that the
President, sir, any plans to meet with Pope Leo in the near future, sir?
Not a plan. I would do it. I have a lot of respect. I really like his brother. His brother is a major, serious Trumper. You know that. He's MAGA all the way. I like the Pope's brother, and I think I'd like the Pope. But the Pope's brother lives in Florida. I met him, and he is MAGA. He's got MAGA signs all over the house. He likes Trump, and I like him.
Mr. President, what's the latest on Iran?
How about you?
Iran.
We're trying to meet President Putin to sit down to discuss Ukraine death. Well, we're going to see what happens with President Putin. So far, I've been very disappointed with President Putin. I've solved a lot of wars in the last 3 months, but I haven't gotten this one yet. This is a Biden war. It's not a Trump war. I'm here to try and get us out of that mess. Any messages for what? Yeah, go ahead. Do I have a what? For the people of Brazil?
Yes.
Are you from Brazil?
Yeah, Brazil's main export got hit by a 50%, which is coffee. Yeah, one of their main exports got hit with 50% tariffs. And I mean, that is literally hurts Brazil like all the way through. But it's only because Trump is pretty much, I guess, trying to get Brazil to drop charges on, I guess, one of his guys. Well, what's his name? I think Bolsonaro. Yeah, Bolsonaro. I mean, he's a good guy, honestly. And I do think it's due to corruption, but this does give the wrong image. I will tell you that.
He's going to trial now, right?
Yeah.
When is that trial starting? When is the trial for Bolsonaro starting? When is it? How is it going?
Now you're asking him to find him guilty.
But they haven't found him guilty, have they?
But what do you think?
But have they found him guilty? No.
On Iran.
President Bolsonaro is a good man. I've gotten to know a lot of prime ministers and presidents and kings and queens. And I know him, and I'm pretty good at this. President Bolsonaro is not a dishonest man. He loves the people of Brazil. He fought hard for the people of Brazil. He negotiated trade deals against me for the people of Brazil, and he was very tough. And he was tough because he wanted to do a good deal for his country. He was not a dishonest man. And I believe it's a witch hunt, and it shouldn't be happening. And it's not that I know him that, look, he's not like a friend of mine. He's somebody that I know. And I know him as a representative of millions of people, Brazilians. They're great people. And he loves the country, and he fought hard for those people, and they want to put him in jail. And I think that's a witch hunt, and I think it's very unfortunate. And nobody's happy with what Brazil is doing, because Bolsonaro was a respected president. Very respected.
Yeah, but Brazil's another example is when you take socialism too far. But, you know, some of the Dems want it here, though. But, hey, I mean, Zoran Mandani, hey, he going to teach y'all. He going to teach y'all what that socialism will do to a state, at least.
But first, breaking tonight, President Trump says his attorney general should release whatever documents she thinks are credible concerning the late businessman and convicted sexual predator, Jeffrey Epstein. It's his latest comment in the ongoing controversy that has split many of the president's supporters. Meanwhile, there is new pressure tonight on Attorney General Pam Bondi from an unlikely spot, the top Republican in the House, the Speaker. Correspondent David Spahn has the story for us tonight. Good evening, David. I mean, this story does not go away here.
It's really not right now, at least, Fred. And Attorney General Pam Bondi is breaking her silence on this Epstein matter following a week of intense blowback from the MAGA base. She says, though, she's staying put despite calls for her to go.
I'm going to be here for as long as the president wants me here, and I believe he's made that crystal clear. It's 4 years, well, 3.5 now, right? On anything else?
Bondi at an unrelated event on fentanyl today declined to expand on the reported fracture in a relationship with Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, who threatened last week to quit over the DOJ's closure of the Epstein case with a 2-page memo.
I'm not going to discuss personnel matters. I think we all are committed to working together now to make America safe again, and that's what we're doing.
House Speaker Mike Johnson pushing Bondi to do a little bit more, though. Watch.
She needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved.
Well, today, President Trump, who's been tamping down the Epstein story.
All right, and that was on Benny Johnson's live, where he had a whole bunch of White House officials, White House officials did an interview with them, had his chat, ask them questions, and yeah, that's what Mike Johnson said. And I didn't think they were going to take it that serious, but I mean, hey, the media is running away with it.
And endorsing Pam Bondi gave her some new latitude.
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
However, Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, says it may not be up to Bondi.
Yeah.
Many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan, and they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims. Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that.
Part of the reason Ghislaine Maxwell, former girlfriend and associate to Jeffrey Epstein, is appealing her conviction to the U.S. Supreme Court. But Brett, the DOJ is asking the Supreme Court to deny Maxwell's review of the case and leave her in prison, where she's serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring with Epstein.
So pretty much, and here's the wild part. I think Ghislaine Maxwell actually want to testify before Congress and let us know what she knows, but I don't really trust what she says, because she might have already heard the information that the FBI said Epstein killed himself and all that wild stuff. And she could just go ahead and lie and corroborate that and just be like, all right, yep, he did it. So why am I in jail and all this good stuff? And we'll remind her, you're in jail because, you were caught for trafficking 5 women to Epstein. The problem is we just cut it off at that for some reason, and they did no further investigation.
In his abuse of underage girls.
But what's interesting is if Dershowitz is right, and it seems like he's pretty knowledgeable on this and has been a part of some of these cases, you wonder why the Attorney General is not saying all of that publicly, or the communication strategy here.
It's something that Dershowitz, says it's up to 2 different judges. President Trump today, for the first time, we've heard him say that she has some more latitude to give out some more information. So we're going to see if she does provide some more information.
We'll track it all here. David, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to...
Let's get straight to Pam Bondi answering to the press. All right, guys, let me make sure I put it in the right spot here because, okay, cool. It's at the end. Perfect.
The level of drugs. Go ahead. Sure. For you, Attorney General. Today on social media, President Trump made allegations about mortgage fraud against Senator Schiff. I'm wondering if you can comment on that and whether or not that issue has been heard and looked at by the...
Yeah, I just was told about those comments walking into this room, and we don't comment on whether there is or is not a pending investigation. But thank you. Anything else on topic today? Go ahead.
Madam Attorney General, on this matter of fentanyl, which is a priority clearly for the DEA, Department of Justice, are you confident you're going to still be here to execute this, because there's so many people calling for change at the Department of Justice?
I'm going to be here for as long as the president wants me here, and I believe he's made that crystal clear. It's 4 years, well, 3.5 now, right? We've got 6 months in, and it feels like 6 years. But I was with Director Patel this morning, and we are working on fighting violent crime. We are working on all these issues that we deeply care about to make America safe again and get these drugs off our streets. We've been working on this since my really last 2 years. Fentanyl was coming on the market when I was state attorney general. And now with these cartels, it's coming back. It's coming in more than ever. And the border has stopped that, but we're going to catch them and we're going to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
Yes, sir.
Is there disruption at the leadership of DOJ and the FBI with your relationship with Pam Bondi that is affecting the operations?
No, I'm not going to talk about personnel matters. No, I was with Director Patel all morning, and we are committed to keeping America safe, making America safe, working with our incredible partners at DEA, FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, to do everything we can to make America safe. And that's what we're focused on. And today we're focused on protecting our kids. And I would ask all of you, when you leave, go look at that wall outside, right outside this room, of all the fentanyl deaths, all the faces of fentanyl that you have done an amazing job putting up. Thank you all.
So following up on that.
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to follow up on that question. I think the American people have a lot of questions about your relationship with the deputy FBI director. Do you believe that he should stay in his role?
I'm not going to discuss personnel matters. I think we all are committed to working together now to make America safe again. And that's what
pretty much trying to see if the beef is real.
we're doing. Only on topic, guys. Go ahead.
It's like, you only want to talk about fentanyl, but nah, everybody want to talk about Epstein, Pam Bondi. That's the wild part. It's like you came out here and you just hope that everybody's going to keep it all fentanyl. I was like, nah, we kind of we get the whole ordeal about fentanyl. We want to know about your F up with the Epstein files and this whole phase 1 BS you hit everybody with. Like, that's what we want to talk about, to be honest.
When you're in a public forum, you can choose or not choose to answer any questions, but I don't believe it is your right to ask us. Restrict those questions. That said, I will keep this on topic.
Thank you.
How can you keep America safe again when the president's budget for 2026 cuts the DEA by $212 million and the FBI by $500 million?
Well, it won't. That's a great question. It won't harm our capacity to fight. I'll tell you that. We can always do more with more, but we can do more with less. And that's what we're committed to doing. The big, beautiful bill also adds a tremendous amount for us in combating, especially the drug crisis, billions of dollars, I believe.
I think it's 500 million.
Yeah, let me see, 3.3 billion dollars in the big, beautiful bill to combat drug trafficking, support the prosecution of immigration matters and gang-related crimes. So that crosses all agencies as well. So that bill will greatly help us as well, in addition to the budget. We also have a $3.5 billion reimbursement fund for state and local agencies that are enforcing the Immigration Act, drug and human trafficking laws. And human trafficking is also something we're not talking about today, but is very, very important to us. So yes, there are billions of additional dollars in addition to the original budget. So that was a great question. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I think that's all.
The president said today you would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you?
Our memo today, our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else. I haven't seen all of his statements today. Thank you.
How do you respond to the MAGA base that has expressed a lot of frustration about it?
We're going to fight to keep America safe again, and we're fighting together as a team. That's what's so important right now. You know, we've got a war on drugs. We've got a war on human trafficking. We've got cartels in this country, and we are going to do. We've got foreign adversaries around this world as well, and we're all going to work together as a team to fight to keep America safe again. And I can tell you that's what we're all committed to. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for, please show these pictures today. Thank you.
If anybody needs B-roll, there's some B-roll, especially of the cucumbers, the thing I talked about, some great video of that. If you need it.
And all righty. Well, that's all she pretty much had to say. She didn't reveal too much, say too much. She just said, no, I didn't really get that memo yet. I'll check back in with you guys. All right, now let's get on over to the left and see what they're saying. All right, let's see what the guys at CNN is getting into.
Pittsburgh, where CNN's Elena Treen is in Pittsburgh, where President Trump is also set to speak here in a few minutes. Elena, what more are you learning about how the White House is handling the fallout here?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's very clear from our reporting, our conversations with White House officials, Trump administration officials, that he wants specifically this story or people to move on from this story. He's trying to get his base to let this go away, and he's directing some of his team behind closed doors to do what they can to help it die down. That's why we actually saw the president directly making calls this weekend. We know he reached out to Charlie Kirk, a fierce supporter of his, the head of the Turning Point USA, and they held a summit this weekend. He had tried to, convince him to knock off with the criticism, tamp down some of the criticism of the handling of this Epstein case. And we actually saw Kirk yesterday say that for now, he is not going to comment further on all of this. And we also know that the vice president, J.D. Vance, he was trying to play peacemaker with people within the administration where there's been infighting on this between the FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. He also called Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, and Attorney General Pam Bondi were reporting. But just to add to some of what we heard from the president, president right there. He's been very full-throated in his defense of Bondi repeatedly now in the last several days. But he also argued that, he believes that if she believes that they can put out some more of these files and have them do it in a credible way, that she should. But then he also tried to argue and really cast the blame on some of his political opponents, saying they made up some of this idea that there was a file list or a client list in the first place. Take a listen.
On Epstein, of the review of the files.
Now, when we say the Epstein or the Epstein list or the client list, what we really mean is, because it's not going to be an actual list. It's pretty much the paper trail and, digital trail that Epstein left behind, linking him to all of his associates, of those who purchased what he was offering and those who just, helped him purchase or helped him acquire what he was offering, which was, young women.
Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
And shout out to Nisi. She says, press briefing or political stunt. I mean, at that point, I think she just got blindsided. She didn't really know what to say by it. I mean, the whole phase one, though, when she released the Epstein files first, or just those overly redacted phase one files, that was a political stunt for sure.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing. And in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it. But she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
So a few things to note there. And of course, I want to really point out that when he references former Presidents Obama and Biden, or former FBI Director James Comey, saying that they made up the Epstein files, I'd remind you that a lot of people in the president's base, and even some people in the administration, had been the ones who had really been pushing this idea that these Epstein files needed to be released, that there was more to them, that there was potential accomplices listed in them. So I just want to give you that quick fact check. But look, all to say, I think the big point on this is a story now that has been out for over a week, and the backlash we have seen from his base, from the MAGA wing of his party, has not really quieted down despite the president's efforts to get them to move on from this. And so that's why he's continuing to really have to come out here and defend the attorney general, but it doesn't look like he's changing his tune on that just yet, Brianna.
Yeah, it does not. Elena Treen, thank you for that report. Let's go now to CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton. And Harry Enton, there's a new CNN poll that's just out. How's the controversy impacting the president's support?
Yeah, I would say that the word is dissatisfied. That is how Americans feel in terms of the releases so far, the Epstein case. Take a look here, Epstein case. Amount of info release. The winner here, 50% dissatisfied. Doesn't matter, 29%, not heard enough, 17%. But look at the bottom of your screen. The percentage that are satisfied is just 3%. That's 1, that's 2, that is just 3%. I feel like the count.
Those 3% are sheep, goddammit, sheep. But hey, it is what it is.
On Sesame Street, just 3% of Americans are satisfied so far with the amount of information released. The clear winner in this particular case is 50%. Half of the public is dissatisfied, at least so far.
And are you seeing a big difference between how Republicans and Democrats are viewing this?
No, and that I think is kind of the interesting sort of nugget in what's going on here. You see this 50% dissatisfied, and let's break it down by party. Okay, Epstein case, amount of info released. Look at this. You get 43% of lean GOP, that's Republicans and independents who lean towards the Republican Party, who are dissatisfied. Look at this, just 4% satisfied? My goodness gracious, when you only have 4% that is with Donald Trump on a particular issue, that is ridiculously low. I've never seen anything quite like it. How about lean Democrat? 60% dissatisfied. Compare that to 3% who are satisfied. Again, 4%, 3% Republican, Democrat. You rarely ever see this type of agreement. Now, of course, there's another divide in American politics, one that has increased over the past few decades, and that is whites with a college degree, whites without a college degree. But in this particular case, we see agreement. What are we talking about? This Epstein case, amount of info released, dissatisfied, 55% of white college graduates, and 53 of white non-college graduates, Donald
Well,
Trump's
I
historic
mean,
base. Yet the majority are.
Okay, so it sounds like, hey, at least the white guys are all in accordance. They're like, nah. He's like, nah. The educated ones and the lesser educated, or maybe in the trades. Yeah, like those guys, they're all in accordance. You know what? I'm pretty sure I think us over here, us black men are also kind of, or black people are also on it as well. We're like, yeah, we're dissatisfied with what we've been told as well. We don't like it. Trust me, I'm pretty sure you can ask all races across the board and we'll tell you that, yeah, we are dissatisfied with what Pam Bondi has provided us with the Epstein files. Well, or the DOJ and the FBI. Let's blame both of them then. I actually know, throw in Tulsi Gabbard in there as well, since she's director of national intelligence.
Dissatisfied.
Really interesting numbers. Harry Enton, thank you so much. Boris?
Let's dig deeper on this with former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. Andy, thanks so much for being with us. I want to start with what you make of this rift.
And shout out to my man Hellbat. He says, if Jeff is also intel, Tulsi will have to join too. I mean, that is true though. I mean, that's the thing. She should know. She should actually be read in on this. She has high clearance. I mean, when she gets the Epstein files, there shouldn't be no black marker on it. So she does have a bit of responsibility as well. Like, all right, like, let's be real. You're not like, bro, national intelligence, director of national intelligence. If Epstein was working for the CIA, Mossad on American ground, there got to be some file on that she can pull up, or somebody got to know something.
Between the current deputy director and the DOJ, and then by extension, the White House.
Sure, Boris. So the tension between the deputy director.
All right, now we ain't about to just listen to this guy. All right, let's go on to the next one, where now CNN pretty much blasts Trump about giving Russia 50 days. So yes, on Russia unleashes massive attack, 17 blasts in 20 minutes, and this was about 7 hours ago. All right, now let's get right into it. Whoop. Oh yeah, guys, make sure to double tap the screen. Oh yeah, double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, and make sure to support, guys. We are about I believe 94 away from opening up the call-in line and running conspiracy hour, guys. Appreciate the support.
There is a massive attack underway in Ukraine. So far, we understand at least 17 explosions in a matter of minutes, 17 explosions across the city, one of the largest cities in Ukraine tonight. According to officials there, most of the strikes are targeting a civilian area in Kharkiv. The attack coming as stunning new details are emerging about a phone call between President Trump and Zelensky. Now, it is the Financial Times that obtained much of this information, and they are reporting that Trump asked Zelensky on this call, this is what the FT says, Volodymyr, can you hit Moscow? Can you hit St. Petersburg too? The FT says this is according to multiple people familiar with the call. Sources who tell the FT that Zelensky then responded, absolutely, we can if you give us the weapons. Now, people briefed on the call, which took place one day after Trump spoke to Putin, said that Trump spoke about, quote, making the Russians feel the pain. So with all of this, Trump, of course, was asked about this today. Here's what he's saying publicly.
Should Zelensky target Moscow or deeper into Russia?
No, he shouldn't target Moscow.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he put it out there, but let's be real. If Zelensky hits Moscow, I mean, bro, Russia might nuke him. Russia might actually nuke these guys. So let's not push too far here, guys. Let's let Russia run out of money and destroy their economy, and we'll take over after that. But pushing these guys like that, we're going a bit too far.
Right. Well, that's what he's saying publicly. Privately, of course, it'll be a different matter. Sources tell CNN that despite Trump's public comments, he has not ruled out giving Zelensky new offensive weapons that Ukraine has long requested and previously been denied, like joint air-to-surface standoff missiles. Now, those missiles, perhaps not the range for Moscow or St. Petersburg, but they do go about 230 miles. And what that would do for Ukraine is put possibly 30 Russian additional air bases, 30 at risk. So Russia tonight is responding. And they're responding by going right there, all the way to the jugular, as they have done in other moments of great tension. And that is by threatening nuclear retaliation. Listen to this clip from state television in Russia that was uncovered by the journalist Julia Davis. She closely monitors Russian propaganda. Here's what she found.
Right now, they're considering giving them long-range weapons that can strike Moscow and St. Petersburg. What is Trump doing? He says, it isn't me. We understand that this is a lie. It's America. Therefore, we should clearly understand that we have to conduct a retaliatory strike against America and American forces. Yes, this is nuclear war.
Mincing no words there. This is nuclear war. Straight.
And do you see why we kind of backed off that idea? I'm like, you trust me, they caught word about that briefing and they was like, bro, if you guys do that and you hit Moscow, yeah, that's going to set off the dead hand switch or the dead hand initiative. They're going to bomb us with nukes and we'll bomb them back. And it's mutual destruction. Like, that's the problem with making big threats like that. It's like, like Trump, they ain't like Iran. You just can't bomb them and they're not going to do nothing about it. Like, they got nukes, remember, a decent amount of them, like close to our number.
That threat. And when it comes to Trump's threat to Putin, that Putin has 50 days to end the war or face massive sanctions. Well, that is being met with a public shrug in Russia. Here's the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov.
Oh, Lord.
50 days? It used to be 24 hours. It used to be 100 days. We've been through all of this.
And longtime Putin ally, top Russian security official now, Dmitry Medvedev, posted, Trump issued a theatrical ultimatum to the Kremlin. The world shuddered, expecting the consequences. Belligerent Europe was disappointed. Russia didn't care. Well, moments ago, Trump was asked about why he believes Putin will suddenly care and will suddenly change everything in 50 days.
A lot of opinions change very rapidly. Might not be 50 days, might be much sooner than 50 days.
But again, this is all public versus private. Russia can say that it doesn't care, and maybe there's truth in it. But part of the reason there could be some truth in that is because so far, Trump has not followed his words with actions. So far. I mean, in January, Trump posted online, if we don't make a deal and soon, I have no...
I mean, what do y'all want us to do? Get into war with Russia over Ukraine? Like, that's just something that's not on the table. Like, we're trying to handle this without putting boots on the ground. Maybe somebody should tell CNN that. And actually, I would ask, like, all right, well, what do you want us to do? It kind of sounds like you want us to go balls to the wall, boots on the ground on these guys. Like we're not doing that.
Other choice, but to put high levels of taxes.
And shout out Nisi says, Trump threatening Putin, bold or reckless? I mean, it's both at the same time. Well, he didn't really directly threaten Putin, like with bombing Moscow. Putin heard about that one. But the tariffs, you know... I mean, you could damn near call it theatrical, like the guy said. It's like it gave everybody a shock. It kind of calmed everybody down off the sanction like thing they were having in Congress. Like this went to sanction Russia. Here's the thing: like who knows how well that have worked, but giving them a 50-day ultimatum to say, all right, look, if you don't come to no peace deal in these 50 days, we're gonna put 100% tariffs on your products, and then we're gonna put secondary tariffs on everybody who buys oil from you. So to make a choice here. And if Russia is shrugging that off, then I wonder what type of back deal negotiation they're doing, because that's hitting everybody across the board. I'm expecting even Russian allies to call Putin up and be like, yeah, you might want to stop it because Trump is threatening all of our pockets.
Tariffs and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States. 44 days later, on March 7th, he posts, I'm strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. Well, time went by. Here's Trump on April 27th.
Do you trust President Putin? You know, in about 2 weeks.
Of course, nothing happened after any of those prognostications, and nothing happened after that 2-week time period. There was no sanctions, no tariffs, not then, not in January, not in March. But then again, here was Trump in May.
Do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon.
we're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not.
And here's the thing, though. When he said 2 weeks in this time, this is before the assassination attempt on Putin was done. So all this is happening. This is what mainstream media is leaving out. The fact that Putin is kind of going crazy right now because, well, one, we try to assassinate this man. Two, we pulled up, well, NATO and Ukraine, well, they frame it as Ukraine. Ukraine pulled off a drone Trojan horse. They put a whole bunch of drones in Russian cargo, well, in Russian carriers, pretty much. A truck, the little, sorry, my brain's kind of mixed up right now, but they put them in the back of trucks, right? These trucks went into Russia, they activate the drones, rose up out the trucks, and start attacking military targets deep inside Russia.
Well, of course, that was 6 weeks ago. And now Trump has put out a new deadline of 50 days. And tonight in Kharkiv, the world is getting a small taste of what Putin is capable of. Those explosions that I just talked about rocking the city, 17 of them, the massive ones, happened in apparently the period, just those of 20 minutes. So gosh, you think about what happens in 20 minutes. Think about how many thousands of people will die in the next 50 days, if 50 days is a real deadline. Kristen Holmes is out front live outside the White House. So, Kristen, I lay out that history because it matters in terms of how serious this threat is. What are you learning about Trump's plan and about how he really sees Putin right now?
Yeah, Aaron, I mean, I think the thing to point to is, yes, this has been a long game of President Trump almost seemingly defending Putin at various times, asking if he's being strung along, and then also giving these kind of arbitrary deadlines of 2 weeks. But one thing that has changed over the last several months has been President Trump's perception of Vladimir Putin and perception of the relationship that he once believed that they had. And we've really been watching that unfold in real time as he has grown increasingly frustrated. I mean, one of the things he was asked today was that he was asked about what he says to Putin behind closed doors on the phone. And he said that Putin says he wants peace, but then never acts on it. This is a change that might actually lead to President Trump doing something. And that's what we're hearing from allies of his, particularly war hawks, people who really have been wanting him to enact these sanctions on Russia, is that his growing frustration might actually lend them to doing something. And one thing to make clear here, these tariffs that he's talking about in 50 days, they aren't tariffs, they aren't going to be on Russia themselves. We do so little trade with Russia, it wouldn't matter. It's on these intermediary countries that do big business with Russia and the United States. So the hope there is that even if this is just a threat, that these other countries are going to be wanting Putin to come to the table to negotiate. But whether or not that works remains to be seen, particularly when you're watching these officials in Russia kind of shrug off Trump's comments.
President Trump today still expressing his reservation and frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin, just one day after announcing a new plan to get U.S. weapons to Ukrainian troops using NATO and NATO allies, and warning Putin he has 50 days to make a ceasefire deal or face a second round of punishing tariffs. CNN's chief White House correspondent and anchor, Caitlin Collins, is live for us at the White House. Caitlin?
Yeah, Jake, and I should note the president lashed out at a reporter when they asked him why he is giving President Putin another 50 days here as they are seeking to bring this war to an end, or he says that Russia is going to face some heavy sanctions here. The president did not like that question and also said that he believes that the 50-day timeline is actually not that long after all. It's a sentiment that we've heard echoed by Republicans in Congress as well, who have been trying to push their own sanctions bill to the president's desk eventually. But Jake, he did make some news on Russia and amid some reporting that he had asked President Zelensky during their last phone call if Ukraine would have the ability to be able to hit Moscow or St. Petersburg if they had long-range missiles. The White House did not deny that the president actually brought that up to Zelensky, but said that he was merely asking the question, not saying that it was something that he should be talking about. And then the president himself took questions from reporters on this as he was leaving the White House to go to Pennsylvania earlier, where he said he does not believe and is not considering giving Ukraine long-range missiles, and also said he does not think President Zelensky should try to hit Moscow either. He did, though, Jake, make clear his frustration with President Putin, and as they are in this dynamic and waiting for these next 50 days to play out, and this is what he told us.
Well, we're going to see what happens with President Putin. So far, I've been very disappointed with President Putin. I've solved a lot of wars in the last 3 months, but I haven't gotten this one yet.
That is his frustration, Jake, in terms of not being able to bring this conflict to an end, something that he initially promised to do on day one in office. And I should note, I've been talking to officials here at the White House, and that frustration that you're hearing him air out publicly, as he's kind of been building to for the last several weeks, is a sentiment that he has been reflecting in private for quite some time, and now is clearly doing so publicly. The question, of course, is how the Russian leader is going to respond and whether or not that 50-day deadline is.
And we will see. And all right, guys, we're going to take a quick comedic interlude, but let me give you the background story real quick of our little comedy session we're about to have. Elmo got a little anti-Semitic, guys. I mean, the actual Elmo account got hacked, and bro was going wild. Elmo says all Jews should die. F Jews. Donald Trump is Netanyahu's puppet because he is in the Epstein files. Jews control the world and need to be exterminated. I mean, bro, like, bro, Elmo, why Elmo? Release the files at Donald Trump, you child effer. Then Elmo coming in again. Kill all Jews. Now, this is what Elmo had to say for himself, because look, he had to explain himself, and shout out Elmo for, letting us know what was going down. So let's get right over to it with was it Vincent Oshana? And shout out PBD. This was absolutely hilarious, guys. All right, let's get into it.
Elmo, it's no secret why you're here. Okay. Last night on X, you went on a rant targeting Jews, President Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Elmo was hacked. So you say so. Okay, but Cookie Monster was in here earlier, and he said he was with you when you were posting that stuff on X. Oh, and by the way, the IP address, it's yours. That means nothing. You can't trust that junkie. Listen, but I have to ask, and with all due respect, look at me. Were you drinking last night?
Elmo had a glass of Chardonnay.
A glass?
Okay, fine. It was a bottle. But that's a normal Sunday night for Elmo.
And let me guess. You were watching Nick Fuentes and Dan Bilzerian content, right?
Yeah,
but nothing. All right? You tweeted, Donald Trump is Netanyahu's puppet because he's in the Epstein files and Jews control the world.
Look, Elmo knows puppets. And Bibi has his hand so far up Trump's ass.
Whoa, Elmo.
No, you're singling Elmo out. Snuffleupagus has been doing cocaine for 20 years. And Big Bird says the N-word on a consistent basis. And you do nothing.
Calm down, Elmo. All right, stop.
Look, if noticing patterns and connecting the dots makes me anti-Semitic, then ooh, guilty as charged.
Elmo, stop. All right, enough already. And I hate that I have to do this, but this morning, I got a package, okay? And in the package was a video with a note attached. And the video is of someone that looks exactly like you messing around with some underage puppets. Oh, and guess what? The note said, tell Elmo to back off immediately. We also want him to go on an apology tour in Jerusalem, maybe even kiss the wall.
I'll be damned to hell if I'm going to Jerusalem.
All right, look at that. Look at that. Who's that? Who's that?
That's not me.
Elmo.
That could be anybody.
Elmo.
That could be anyone.
Elmo. That's you.
Damn, Elmo.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you'll be seeing Elmo when he gets back from Jerusalem. Mazel tov. I love Jews. Jews love me. Please don't leak that vid of me.
And all right, now let's get back to the more serious part of the show. All right, look, that was funny, like oy vey. Oh man.
We've had a string of softer than expected inflation reads in this country. We've had 4. We might get 5 at 8:30 Eastern time. Why do you believe that's signal and not noise?
Well, I mean, there's some persistence there, Jonathan. And look, I do have access to the number the night before, but when I'm coming on TV, I don't look at it. So I don't know what the number is going to be at 8:30. And I wouldn't, I don't know whether it's going to be down, up, or flat, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on one number. I think it's the trend. And I think one thing that Wall Street, a lot of economists, market in general got wrong early on was that tariffs were going to cause a substantial price level rise, which just hasn't happened.
And there are some people on the FOMC, the Federal Reserve, still worried about the prospect of that happening through the summer. We've all sensed the frustration.
Which is why the Federal Reserve said they're going to wait and cut rates, because they want to wait for the predicted cause of the tariffs, which hasn't happened yet, but they said it's going to happen in the future. And if it doesn't, then once again, Jerome Powell just looks stupid. I mean, he got 3 months until he looks stupid. So he got till October.
From the White House across the administration with Fed Chair Jay Powell. And a lot of confusion, I think, at this point that maybe we can address in this conversation. Is firing the Federal Reserve Chair under active consideration in the White House, in the Treasury, in your administration?
President Trump said numerous times he's not going to fire Jay Powell. He's working the refs. And I've said before, I'm a basketball fan. There are two schools of working the refs. There's the Bobby Knight School and there's the Dean Smith School. President Trump seems to prefer the Bobby Knight School. And I'll tell you, I went back over the weekend and looked, and Bobby Knight won 3 NCAA championships. My hero, Dean Smith, only won 2.
The NEC director, Kevin Hassett, I'm not sure what you'd call him, but he was asked over the weekend, can the Fed chair be fired? He said that's a thing that's being looked into. How should we understand those comments?
I mean, one, you can't fire the Fed chair. Once you put the Fed chair in, they're in there for a 10-year term, and the president can't remove them. The people can't remove them. Well, no, at least not by legislation or anything like that. Or you can't vote them out, can't impeach them, nothing. The Fed chair, I mean, once you're sat there, you're in there for 10 years, and that's that. I mean, Trump put this guy in there in 2016, and his term ends next year. So I say everybody's pretty much saying we got to wait it out. And the only way this guy's ever going to be removed is if he resigns. And I doubt Powell's going to do that.
Look, and I will point out, Kevin was a collegiate basketball player. And I think, as President Trump said, he's not looking to fire Chair Powell. And as I've said, I'm not going to comment on future policy or future mistakes the Fed will make. I'll only comment on past mistakes. And look, they've had some big forecasting errors, and this may be one now.
Is there a reason for not firing him? And I asked that question because the president's also said that his term is about to expire in May of next year. Is that the reason to ultimately just wait? Or is it something else? Are you convinced by...
No, we have no choice but to let this man finish his term.
The negative consequences associated with such a move?
Sucks, though.
Look, I think an independent central bank is very important for the conduct of monetary policy. And we can see that in terms of both the financial markets, the term premium, and longer-term debt.
You said previously the interview process would begin later on in the fall. There's been plenty of speculation as to whether that process would be brought forward. Mr. Secretary, do you still, as far as you understand, believe that's when the interview process to replace the Fed chair will begin in the fall, or is a formal process already started?
Well, look, there's a formal process that's already starting. There are a lot of great candidates, and we'll see how rapidly it progresses. It's President Trump's decision, and it will move at his speed.
Do you see any merit at all in selecting maybe a candidate that's already on the committee on the FOMC versus taking a look at someone outside of the Federal Reserve?
Again, there are a lot of good candidates inside and outside the Federal Reserve, Jonathan.
Has the chairman himself, the Fed chair, Jay Powell, given you any indication whatsoever as to what he would do once his term has expired? Will he vacate his seat as the governor of the Federal Reserve?
Well, traditionally, the Fed chair also steps down as a governor, and there's been a lot of talk of a shadow Fed chair causing confusion in advance of his or her nomination. And I can tell you, I think it'd be very confusing for the market for a former Fed chair to stay on also.
Mr. Treasury Secretary, I'd love to talk to you about what's going on in Nvidia this morning. Jensen Huang, the CEO, out in a blog statement saying that the company has, quote, provided an update to customers, noting that Nvidia is filing applications to sell the H20 GPU again. The U.S. government has assured the company that licenses will be granted, and Nvidia hopes to start deliveries soon. Can you attest whether that's true or not? The United States is willing to let Nvidia sell H20s once again in China?
Well, again, Anne-Marie, I think that'd be a judgment that the Chinese indigenous manufacturers, namely Huawei and some others, already have an equivalent chip. So if there's an equivalent chip, then the Nvidia H20 could be sold.
Yep. So the H20 is an Nvidia AI chip designed for use in China, particularly for AI interference. Really? And has been subject to export restrictions due to U.S. government concerns about potential military applications. I mean, it's reasonable. All right, recently Nvidia announced that they are working to secure assurances from the U.S. government that export licenses will be granted. The H2 was developed as a China-Pacific version to comply with earlier U.S. exports controls. Huh. I mean, I might have to see how well this chip works.
Because I can tell you, the one thing that we do not want is a digital Belt and Road springing up around the world because other countries or China are substituting for our American chip manufacturers.
This is the same chip, though, that the Trump administration blocked with export controls in April. So why the change in policy now?
Anne-Marie, you might say that that was a negotiating chip that we used in Geneva and in London.
So this was part of the trade talks when it comes to Washington and Beijing?
Yes.
Was it a quid pro quo then? As you said, it wasn't, but was it potentially to make sure that you can get the licenses when it comes to rare earths?
Yeah, I think it was all part of a mosaic. They had things we wanted, we had things they wanted, and we're in a very good place. I expect to meet my Chinese counterpart, the vice premier, in the next few weeks.
So when and where will that meeting take place?
We're still working on that. The Chinese leadership has a big conclave at the beginning of August, so we're trying to work out whether that could be in a third country before or after that conclave.
Will the administration release the framework of the Geneva and London talks?
Well, we have released some of it, and I'll tell you that now having settled on tariffs, on the export controls, we can move on to the next stage of talks. And I think it's very important, both for the global economy, for the U.S. economy, and for the Chinese economy, for us to move on and talk about China opening its markets and the increased domestic and consumer production there.
Are you hoping to get to that next phase before August 12th, when that's currently the détente between these two economies?
All right, now if you want to break down, well, in China's state council, the premier is the head of government and the vice premiers serve as his deputies. The vice premiers are ranked with the first ranking vice premier holding the most senior position among them. So, I mean, god damn it, it's like this man has like an army of VPs, of vice presidents, basically.
Yeah, I think we're in a very good place, and I tell market participants not to worry about August 12th.
Should they worry about what's happening with Europe with respect to the 30% tariff rate? They don't seem to be worrying, but I'm just curious whether that's the final rate or whether the letter was part of a negotiation that Europe received from President Trump.
Well, Lisa, what I would say is President Trump's able to create a lot of leverage here, because he's indifferent. He's indifferent whether we take in the 30% rate or whether the Europeans come to us with a much better deal. As I've been saying for a while, that if countries or trading blocs don't come with their best deals, then the rates could boomerang back. So President Trump's leading this. And what I will tell you is that a lot of the deals, and this is where his leadership's been invaluable, a lot of the deals that I thought were excellent deals keep getting improved upon every time he takes up the maximum pressure strategy.
There is a theory in markets, and you don't even have to calm them. They're pretty calm. They're watching all of these rates, and they're not freaking out in parlance on Wall Street. They're taking this in stride. We're close to all-time highs, if not at all-time highs. Do you see this as giving a green light to Trump, to President Trump, to keep going, to take hardline approaches, and to keep trying to get better and better deals?
Look, I think this narrative of this obsessive focus on the market isn't right. President Trump views this as a generational opportunity.
I mean, bro, if the stocks go down or the indexes go down just 1%, I mean, these Dems are losing their mind and they're calling for the crashing of the economy. So that is wild how these guys look at the economy from a day-by-day basis when it really should be looked at by a quarter basis, which means 3 months. 6 months. Like, yes, look at that. And then if we're in the red or the green within that, that tells you where we're at, honestly. Those, because they really 6 months, because those are 2 quarters that pass by. So that should honestly tell you the real performance of a stock, especially for like half the year. But people want to look at the day, the week, and then says, yep, the economy is going to fail, guys, just because a week's in the red or a day's in the red. Yep, the economy's over. Everything's going to crash, guys. And the Dems just fear monger on economic turmoil.
Opportunity to reset trade in a fair and sound manner for the American people. So the idea that some market ups or downs are going to be the deciding factor here is what we are concerned about. And President Trump is laser focused on is getting the best deals because we were not having fair trade. And now we're seeing with these countries coming to the table, the quality of the deals gets better and better. So we're not going to rush just because of some market deadline. Now, I think what the market's seeing is market's willing to look forward 3, 6, 12 months. And this is going to be good for the U.S. It's going to be good for the global economy.
If you do get some sort of signal from the market, though, that this isn't going to be good for the U.S. economy, is there a trigger point? Is there sort of a sense at which it acts as a gut check and sort of pulls back some of the negotiating tactics?
Look, I think that the market understands what we're doing. Sometimes individual market people don't. Sometimes the television personalities don't. But good thing about President Trump is he always tells you what he wants, and what he wants is fair trade here.
I won't take that as a slight on me and my colleagues around the table, Mr. Treasury Secretary, but you did tell me on April 2nd, on Liberation Day, that this was the ceiling when it comes to those rates. But since then, we have actually had some tariff rates the president announced in letters higher than those rates he announced on that big chart on April 2nd. So is there no longer a ceiling when it comes to tariff rates when you are dealing with trading partners?
I mean, that's an easy answer. Like, I'm pretty sure he's going to say it's country Pacific. Like, yeah, that Pacific country got a higher rate or broke the ceiling because the trade agreement or their trading practices was just that egregious.
I think that I said if they come and they negotiate in good faith, then those are ceilings. And some of the talks got off to very slow starts.
So who's negotiating good faith at this moment and who's not?
Again, I congratulated the UK the other day, as I told many of our trading partners. And Anne-Marie, I may have said on that day or a few days after April 2nd, I'd advise countries to move quickly because with President Trump, the first deals are usually the best deals. And the UK came in early. They got a great deal. And everybody else is kind of dragging right now.
Well, when it comes,
yeah, and I can see why they say that. Because let's say, I mean, country A comes to Trump first before country B, and the thing is about country A and B is that they both serve a certain, I guess, product that America likes. So let's say if country A comes to Trump first and they get a better tariff deal, they get a better trade deal, then when country B comes along, they have a weaker position for their product. Because now they're like, well, Trump's going to hit them. Well, country A is already supplying us with this. We're already getting it from them in high numbers, and they're opening up their economy. What are you going to do for us, really? And that's going to force country B to make further capitulations or pretty much further bend the knee. And that's what he means by, you know what, maybe if you pull up first before the guy who's also selling the same thing as you pulls up, you're going to get a better deal. And that just makes logical sense.
to Japan, you're headed there at the end of this week. Do you expect to come back with a deal?
I'm going to Japan to represent the United States government and the American people at the International Expo, which we used to know as the World's Fair. So this coming Saturday is going to be America's Day, and I'll be taking a delegation, includes the Labor Secretary, Deputy Secretary of State will be representing the U.S. So this is a celebration of the U.S. more than trade talks.
Mr. Secretary, before you go, just a final question. I'm embarrassed to say that my knowledge of college basketball is nothing like yours, but I can tell you back in the 90s in English football, there used to be a concept of player managers. There used to be certain managers of football teams that also put themselves on the field and they played too. Effectively, they had two jobs. And I'm wondering from your perspective whether that's something you'd be interested in. We've seen that throughout the administration. Is that something you think that you could pursue, both the Treasury Secretary and the Fed chair?
Look, I think I have the best job in town. I will do what President Trump wants. We got a lot of great Fed candidates, and I'm confident it's going to be a robust process, Jonathan.
I mean, honestly, Scott Bessent has been performing the best, to be quite honest. The trade deals that we got and all that good stuff. I mean, the economy's looking good so far. So Scott Bessent got the best performance right now. So give it up to Scott Bessent. I mean, he may be the most boring sounding guy, but he has, well, right now, the best record among the Trump cabinet. I mean, Pam Bondi screwing us, Kash Patel, screwing us. Let me see here. Well, I mean, Lucknick is doing good. Urban House Development, that guy's doing all well. Labor Secretary, she's doing well. So, there actually are other people in this cabinet doing well. But I would say the one that's shining bright would be Scott Bessent. All right, guys, let's get over to Hannity, pretty much calling these Dems, well, a new name for the Dems, dumped or fired Dems. Yes, dumped or fired Dems. DFD.
Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, the radical left is inconsolable. Their rage is completely out of control. On a positive note, they thankfully are no longer burning Teslas and attacking car dealerships. But unfortunately, and this is where it gets serious, they have a new target, federal immigration officials. Now attacks on ICE are up a whopping 830%. I wonder if it might have a little something to do with comments like these. Take a look.
If you've got a facility that's holding people indefinitely and there's no legal process to get in there and there's no legal process to get out, that is traditionally called a concentration camp or an internment camp.
This points to something bigger. They want more people behind bars. They want to incarcerate more people, and they want to ethnically cleanse this country.
We have a message for conspiracy nut Rachel Maddow and all her friends. And also coming up, we're going to show you the worst of the worst. But it's not just the Democrats. The legacy state-run media mob has become totally unglued and unhinged. Take a look.
Also, I want to respond to you saying that I was hyperbolic when I talked about a reign of terror.
That is hyperbolic.
No, it might be hyperbolic for you as a white man.
Oh, okay.
It's certainly not hyperbolic for me as a Latino. No, I'm not being racist.
To dismiss my opinion for being a white man.
No, I'm not dismissing your opinion.
All right, we have that entire exchange that's coming up straight ahead, but we begin with one of the reasons Democrats are now lashing out, and that is President Trump has been, well, incredibly successful.
All right, now let's take a bit of a conspiracy turn here because I bet you guys ain't heard about this connection. Now, check this out. So apparently Kash Patel might be a honeypot operation, or Kash Patel might be dating a Mossad agent. I know, right? They're taking it there. They're really taking it there, guys. But hear my man out. Let's hear him out. Let's hear how they connect the dots.
Is the director of the FBI caught up in an Israeli honeypot operation? All right, here's the context. Quote, some social media users have wondered whether the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department's refusal to release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients could have something to do with Alexis Wilkins, the 26-year-old girlfriend of 45-year-old FBI director Kash Patel. This is what people online are pointing to, the fact.
Hey, okay, Kash. Okay, I feel you, dog. My man say, I'm 40, but hey, my girl 26. Okay. Boy, I got game.
That Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins,
or a honeypot operation, but who'da knew? Who'da knew?
U.S. Justice Department's refusal to release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients could have something to do with Alexis Wilkins, the 26-year-old girlfriend of 45-year-old FBI Director Kash Patel. This is what people online are pointing to, the fact that Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, works for PragerU, which is a media company that supposedly espouses American values, except for the fact that it is run by a former Israeli military intelligence officer. Now, I did a bunch of digging, and unfortunately, there's actually not a lot of public information to go off of in terms of Alexis Wilkins' background. Now, what I was able to find is that her father worked for Gillette and that her mother was in aerospace and pharmaceuticals. It also says that they lived in England and Switzerland before settling in Fayetteville, Arkansas when she was 9. It also says that she attended College du Le Monde International School in Switzerland. Now, interestingly, ChatGPT is calling this a strange biographical gap in that she has no visible friend network or public high school college cohort interviews, which they say is unusual for a public figure in entertainment, and that if a Mossad asset were inserted early in life, these gaps would be precisely where you'd hide alternate history or handler training. Dr. Simon Goddick says that Alexis Wilkins is nearly 20 years younger than Kash and also works for an NGO that's basically Israeli intelligence. That's PragerU that he's referring to. And he says, seriously, why would an attractive young woman date a
No. It used to be ran by an Israeli military officer. Well, we used to work for intelligence. Ran by it. Doesn't mean it is, but it's ran by one. And you know what? I mean, it's safe to make that a wild speculation, I'll say. We are jumping to conclusions, but I do see how the dots connect.
Attractive Indian American. Classic. Dr. Simon Goddick says that Alexis Wilkins is nearly 20 years younger than Kash and also works for an NGO that's basically Israeli intelligence. That's PragerU that he's referring to. And he says, seriously, why would an attractive young woman date a not so attractive Indian American? Classic honeypot. I mean, I don't know. Who are we to really judge what people are attracted to and not attracted to? Anyway, I'm not sure what's true or what's not true, but evidently these are, quote, classic elements used in honeypot operations: soft power, ideological alignment, and sexual emotional entanglement. Let me know what you think.
Well, I mean, hey, how do y'all feel about that? Compelling point, or are y'all going like, nah, that's BS?
Worst, but it's not just the Democrats. The legacy state-run media mob has become total.
Oh, and shout out to my man Vladstein. He says conspiracy theory. Rachel Maddow is a dude, and I'm just like, bro. That is actually. Hey man, every year though, she does look more and more like a dude, but she's for sure a female.
Unglued and unhinged. Take a look.
Also, I want to respond to you saying that I was hyperbolic when I talked about a reign of terror.
That is hyperbolic.
No, it might be hyperbolic for you as a white man.
Oh, okay.
It's certainly not hyperbolic for me as a Latino. No, I'm not being racist.
To dismiss my opinion for being a white man.
No, I'm not dismissing your opinion.
All right, we have that entire exchange that's coming up straight ahead, but we begin with one of the reasons Democrats are now lashing out, and that is President Trump has been, well, incredibly successful. Frankly, beyond even my wildest imagination, he is fulfilling promises, and America is on the mend. The Republican Party is even working together for a change for the most part. Have little intramural squabbles here and there. At the same time, the Democratic Party is a dumpster fire. But that's not stopping Chucky Schumer from putting a brave face and doing what he does best, lying to all of you, the American people. Take a look.
The bottom line is Democrats are united. We are fighting the high costs that American people pay. We are fighting the health care cuts Republicans are making. We are fighting the horrible bill that they just passed. Democrats are united. And
how are you fighting? You already lost. It's enacted. I'm sorry. You're done. It's through. Finito, my friend. So what else can y'all possibly be fighting at this point?
And we have been far more united, frankly, than the Republicans.
Oh, really? In reality, they're not unified at all. In fact, Schumer is a party leader in name only. Same with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. only in name only. As we speak, the Democratic Party, it is undergoing what is a scary transformation. Even Chuck Schumer himself is facing a possible primary. If he does, he will lose. The truth is, melodramatic socialists are now ruling the Democratic Party with an iron fist. The establishment Democrats, people like Schumer, Jeffries, they are completely powerless. They are terrified and they are paralyzed. AOC, the squad, Jasmine Crockett. That's right.
No, not AOC running behind this man. Oh my God, it is the ultimate team. We are doomed. I mean, this is the best they got, guys. This is the best they got. And for the mayoral candidate of NYC. So thank God it ain't the state or it ain't their 2028 candidate. Shoot, actually, you know what? If he wins that city, I mean, I could see them trying to run Zohan Mandani. And then we really got a problem in America. Trust me, though. Conservatives are really going to lose their shit.
Comrade Bernie Sanders and, Pocahontas. They're all leading the way. But tonight, the rising star.
Anna Navarro is not a BBL. Her opinion is vetoed. Wait, what? Oh, damn.
The person stealing the spotlight, an actual Marxist communist named Zoran Mamdani, as we affectionately like to refer to him on this program. Marxist Mamdani is the Democratic Party's nominee to be the next mayor of New York City. No wonder people are leaving in droves. Now, Mamdani has called for the government to seize the means of production. Confiscate private homes, set up government-run grocery stores. Grocery stores have a profit margin of 1% to 3%. He wants to defund the police, end cash bail, raise taxes, especially on people in, quote, whiter neighborhoods. Hadn't heard that one before. And as an added bonus, Mamdani seemingly supports a global intifada against Jewish people. But like any good socialist, well, really Marxist status, to each according to their need, from each according to their ability. It takes the new Green Deal, puts it on steroids and human growth hormone. When he runs out of other people's money, he knows just where to turn in his life. Mommy and daddy. Take a look.
I think that the lack of matching funds makes class a major determinant in who can run and who can succeed when it comes to running for office. You know, I worked until January and then I took time away from my job. And one of the major reasons I could do so was because I knew that if I ran out of my savings, my family would be able to support me. And that is not a luxury that many people have.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's not a guy. You're going to be surprised, but that's just a Muslim value that the system. Yeah, I mean, like you're like said, what do you mean? Yeah, a Muslim value system, and one of my homies like showed me that he can never go broke. He can lose his I can lose my job today and everything will be paid. All I gotta do is ask my family members and it'll all just flood in money. And all his family members are here. If he had for $50, that's like 20 family members sending the bro 50. Now, that's what he's kind of talking about. It's not just a rich guy, rich kid thing. It was, and that's why he said his family, not his parents. Because that's just a Muslim value that, we take care of each other with the finances that we hold in within the family, and they're ready to shoot it out at any time somebody needs help. So these are why Muslim kids are able to get a lot of things off before we do, because they just have like a family bank account or that everybody can just pull out of, not literally, but you get what I'm saying though. Everybody's involved financially.
Marxist Mamdani can run to mommy and daddy. He grew up in a world of privilege. His parents are ultra wealthy. Outside of a couple of years in local government, short stint as a rapper, Mamdani, this guy's never had a real job, doesn't know how the real world works, doesn't understand basic economics. Now he wants to run the wealthiest, the most complex city in the entire world. The one's
I mean, you could damn near call it a socialist ideal, I guess, because they do just make sure they spread the wealth around in their family, but they're capitalists in the market. But when it comes to their family, these Muslims are socialists.
The greatest city in the world is now becoming an Adam Schiff.
I don't think that's a bad strategy, to be quite honest with you.
But don't expect Zoran Mamdani to answer any tough questions. If someone in the media would actually ask him something important, his campaign, they have a plan for that. Loud music, interruption. Take a look.
Thank you for your question, Azir.
I think we're done here.
Channel 7,
we're going to go. Come on.
We haven't had a chance to
We're wrapping up. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
We're wrapping up. I'm so sorry, guys.
Sorry. Can we just talk about this notion that
You mere peons, shush with those questions. How dare you ask a question? You know, we have Marxist Mamdani would be a glaring disaster for the most, publicized city in the entire world. He's not only Marxist, running to be the mayor of a big American city. This now radical socialist senator is now in the running to be in charge of Minneapolis. This cancer is growing within Democratic Party radicalized ranks. This new radicalized Democratic Party,
the new radicalized Democratic Party are all Muslims. They cannot be trusted. All Islamist jihadist Muslims, God damn it, is pretty much what I see where Sean Hannity is going to be at in about a couple months from now.
overjoyed. They are delusional. We're very happy for them. Already the entire party is underwater with Americans, polling at a pretty low 40%, which is even lower than June. And get this, according to another poll, Kamala Harris, she is the front runner for 2028.
No.
I'll take that match any day of the week.
No.
And to top it off, the congenital...
No, they're not that dumb. They wouldn't do it again. Would y'all vote for Kamala again, guys? Like, are y'all really about to do that to yourselves again? Y'all want to go through that heartbreak again? Are you sure y'all want to go through the heartbreak with somebody else?
Liar Adam Schiff, he's now being accused of mortgage fraud by the president of the United States. Didn't he get one of those preemptive pardons? Just wonder maybe what the reason might be. Anyway, at the very same time, the state-run legacy media mob continues to push deranged conspiracy theories about Donald Trump. What a shock. They live Trump lives in their head 24/7. They can't help themselves at this point. If the dog bites, the bee stings, you're feeling sad, blame Trump, spread a conspiracy theory. Take a look.
Do you worry about Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and some of these types monkeying around with the midterms and the way we do elections in this country? I mean,
really?
What they're trying to pull these days, they don't want accountability. They don't want Democrats getting the gavels in the House and the Senate, be able to hold hearings and start impeachment proceedings and so on. I mean, you worry about that, James?
In the short word, yes. In the longer word, very.
I think it's insane.
I mean, at least they're admitting that, you know what, as soon as we gain any seats, we're going to go after you. It's like, bro, can y'all chill? Like, can y'all just get over this? Like, that's the problem with you Dems. Y'all are too thirsty for this man Trump. It's like, literally, bro said, yeah, as soon as we get some seats, we're going to impeach him. Like, isn't there more important things to worry about, guys, than the impeachment of Donald Trump? Can't y'all just work with the man for once in your life? Just try that out instead of wasting time trying to impeach him and getting nothing done. I mean, come on now, let's be real.
Honestly, to just assume we're going to have normal elections next year. I don't assume that.
Oh, fake news Acosta now believes in election integrity. Okay, Joy Reid, same thing. This is a delusional, insane group of people. Obama, by the way, is so panicked, he is now begging, literally, for Democrats to toughen up and quit their whining. And his former chief of staff, Rombo, Deadfish, Emanuel, he's openly worried about the state of his own party, but he couldn't get elected. He'd probably be considered a moderate, which he's not. Take a look.
Just to give you a sense of how bad we are, Democratic Party is less popular than Elon Musk right now. That should be like a wake-up call how bad. The Democratic Party, we disappoint you. And I think if you look at these numbers, the Democrats are harder on the Democratic Party than others. And the reason is because they got disappointed, and they have every right to be disappointed.
No, you lied to them. You told them that, oh, Kamala's ahead. Joe Biden's health is in perfect condition. Don't worry. Trump won't get in office. And then it came election day. You was lying up to the very end of the election, pretty much saying, Kamala's going to blow Trump out. There's no way Trump's going to win. And what happened? Kamala got blown out in every way, shape, and form. Like, that's tough. Yes, of course they're mad at y'all. Y'all lied to them. And I'm surprised they got really any real trust in y'all still. But where else can they go? Where else can they go?
For the leadership.
Now, a little advice from my Democratic friends. The constant whining from Democrats is less of a concern than the rampant extremism. They have socialism, communism, defunding the police, open borders, gender-affirming care for minors, taxpayer-funded sex change operations for illegals and for convicts, free college for illegals, coupled with, tampons in grade school boys' bathrooms. It's very deeply unpopular in the country, and all for good reason. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
All right, now let's get over to the CNN panel and let's hear what these guys got to say.
Donald Trump tried to redraw a map. He did it with a Sharpie. This time, he wants to do it for the ballot box. The president is telling Texas to essentially blow up their congressional maps to find as many as 5 seats for Republicans ahead of the midterms.
5, I think we'll get 5. And there could be some other states we're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition.
Boy, he's doing this for his life. I mean, do you hear y'all? Y'all already saying that, oh no, as soon as we get some seats, we're coming after Trump. Oh no, we can't wait. We're gonna get impeachment started. It's like, shoot, we're gonna put in more felonies. Oh, you thought 34 was heavy? Oh no, next time we hitting them with 64. So yeah, Trump is doing that for his own safety at this point.
Texas would be the biggest one. And
So
are
you calling then for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next year?
Just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats. I have a couple of other states where we'll pick up seats also.
Democrats are calling the move desperate and unconstitutional.
I mean,
in this country,
I can give him that though, but here's the thing: I give it to Trump because you guys are literally trying to set this man up to go to jail. Like, you guys are going to try to impeach him as soon as y'all get in there, and you guys think that's doing something, but really it's just distracting from the real problems. I mean, you still got to face the real problems that you guys set in under Biden. Like, let's be honest here. Like, you still got to have some type of leadership plan. The leadership plan can't be, oh, let's get Trump out of the way. And let's say y'all do, then what? You didn't really give us a plan after that. You know that, right?
Public servants should earn the votes of the people that they hope to represent. What Republicans are trying to do in Texas.
And shout out Nisi said 2026 real votes or AI clones. Pretty much, I guess we're voting for the Senate seats, senators, and all that good stuff. So we'll see how this turns out. Now, I don't really believe that we're going to be losing that many seats. A lot of people say we are, and like the big beautiful bill is going to be the last big bit of the legislation that Trump gets through, because a lot of people think that we're going to lose a primary because of what? Iran, Epstein lists, like, you know, all wild conspiracies. Here's the thing though, I don't really think we're gonna lose it even if we do take those L's, because, well, what does the Dems got? Like, let's be real, what are their arguments besides Trump bad? At the end of the day, when it comes to voting, like, bro, Trump bad is not gonna be enough. It wasn't enough for the presidential election. What makes you think it's gonna be enough for the Senate seats or congressional seats? Like, what makes you think it's gonna be enough then?
Texas is to have politicians choose their voters.
Oh, appreciate the support, Nisi. Support.
And undermine free and fair elections.
So what does it signify that Republicans ahead of the midterms believe that it's going to be so necessary to get an upper hand that they have to actually redraw an entire state's congressional maps in order to get 5 whole seats out of it?
Oh, probably the same thing that it signifies when they did it in Illinois and got a 14-3 delegation for D's. Maryland 7-1, Massachusetts 9-0. We know what happened here in New York, California. Even though they have a commission, we all know what goes on there.
In a mid-cycle specifically, are all of those cases?
Yeah, but here's the thing though: you Dems do it too, and you don't say shit. But then when Trump does it, oh, he's cheating, he's this, he's that, it's unconstitutional. But when you guys do it, what? Oh, everything's in order. Like, that's why it's really hard to hear you Dems, and now that's why I like Scott Jennings, because he's like, I love when he just sits there and let him talk and be like, wow, you guys are all hypocrites. Like, you're really going to get mad about this congressional map when you guys have done this so many times.
This is in mid-cycles.
All of these cases are where Democrats use the power they have to give them an advantage.
But just to be clear, because I didn't do the research that you did in the break here, is it that they're changing it after the actual census process where you're supposed to create you're supposed to go through the congressional redistricting process?
Does it matter?
It
yes,
kind of does.
very much.
I think that's the whole point.
So it's
is
okay
that,
for Democrats to lopside these states. 9-0 in Massachusetts.
I'm weak. He's like, look, at this point, y'all done did it so much. Does it even matter how it gets done? I'm like, y'all did it. He just gave y'all examples of how y'all did it multiple times in Democratic states. It's like, yeah, I'd have had the same answer. I'm like, bro, does it even matter? I just gave you an example of how you guys just did it. And you guys ain't say nothing then. You ain't hold your side accountable. So what do you expect me to do? You want me to hold my side accountable for trying to redraw the congressional map in Texas? I'm like, hey, We just seen how you guys sauced that strategy or had success with that strategy. We know we're going to pull that our way. Why not?
That's what I will say about this. I mean, I don't know that, Texas actually.
Oh, and shout out to my man Jay Z. Scott Jennings about to cook the CNN panel again and again, man. I mean, it's almost his job at this point. It's just to roast or just to cook liberals night after night after night. I mean, probably the most, probably a stressful job. I got to give it to him. The man literally pulls up to work to get gaslit on a daily basis.
Has done this before. So you're right that it's not new. But the point is that it's unusual, and they're doing it because the midterms are coming. And it seems to suggest that there's a weakness that they're anticipating and they want to get ahead of it.
It's not just because the midterms are coming, it is because the last census told us that from 2010 to 2020, the 95% of Texas's population increase has been because of Black and brown people in the state. And so when you redraw the congressional maps, you may have more people voting, but they're voting in gerrymandered congressional districts. This is why I get so frustrated when people say, oh, just hang on until midterms, as if that's going to change anything. This is an example of a long storied history in this country of manipulating the electoral process. And we're seeing it play out right before our eyes in Texas. It has gerrymandering is not illegal. Racial gerrymandering certainly is. And this is exactly what's happening since SCOTUS obliterated Section 3 and Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, of which Texas has a long history of violating.
So back in 2003, this is what we're talking about, there was a rare mid-cycle redistricting. The GOP tried to do exactly the same thing. They were able to do it. Went all the way to the Supreme Court, but Democrats tried to leave the state. And so in response to that, Ken Paxton, who is the Texas Attorney General, says that if they ignore their duty to their constituents by breaking quorum, they should be found and arrested no matter where they go. The people of Texas elected them to do a job, not run away and hide like cowards. He's threatening to arrest them if they leave the state.
Yeah, look, gerrymandering is a form of political cheating, right? Let's be clear on what it is. It is political cheating, and both sides do it to some degree. And that should be called out. It should be highlighted. I don't know that it has enough of a political impact to get people to not do it. But the question becomes, okay, if Texas does it, do the Democrats then go into other states where they don't have commissions as they do in California, which actually could prevent them? I mean, because Gavin Newsom said something about, well, if they do this, we can do this.
Do you mind if I play what he said? Because he talked about this very thing and talked about the means by which they could do it. So just listen.
I mean, gerrymandering, and let's be fair, we've seen this weaponized by both parties for decades. But these guys, this is a whole nother level of weaponization coming from the right. The ground is shifting from underneath us, and I think we have to wake up to that reality. And we can do a special session. I can call for one today if I chose to. We can then put something on the ballot, and I could call a special election. We can change the Constitution with the consent of the voters, and I think we would win that. I think people understand what's at stake in California.
It's a dangerous road, gerrymandering. We've already gone down it, right? And Tiffany's correct about how the Supreme Court has interpreted it, right? It's basically said it's okay if it's for political reasons, as long as it's not racial. But separating those two can be very difficult, right?
Especially in a state like Texas, to Tiffany's point, where the racial demographics are really driving the population growth there.
How much more blood can they squeeze out of the California term?
Apparently,
it's 43 to 9.
There are 9 Republican seats,
again,
and
they've already done it. That's my point. Big blue states have already done everything they can possibly do to give them Democrats the biggest structural advantage they can. And now you're the whining about Texas today. It's a political process. It's the way it is.
Listen,
and it may or may not work. I mean, even Chip Roy, raised some concerns that you might inadvertently make Republicans who were in safe districts and more competitive districts. And that is something that I kind of worry about. But I would also say for Democrats, there's just no guarantee that even if Republicans were successful in Texas with redistricting, that Republicans wouldn't be able to win a compelling number of Latino voters to maintain some of their seats or win new seats.
Isn't that an argument for Republicans to not, play games with the map? I mean, I think you're totally right that in Texas in particular, Republicans have performed very well with Latino.
Yeah, I know. In Illinois and New York and California, you guys perform well and you still added seats. You still did it. So yeah, excuse us for taking one out your playbook, which is a pretty good play. I'm not gonna lie.
Voters. So the idea that they want to fiddle with the maps even more to try to gerrymander it in such a way that perhaps, I don't know if this is what they're going to do, but there is an implication that perhaps one way to do it is to dilute the votes of, minority voters. I'm not sure that would really help them all that.
Well, all we've heard about in Texas is how they perform really well. Republicans perform really well, and they did in the border counties, right, which are predominantly communities of color.
Yeah.
Great. Take it to but I'm saying great. Take it to the voters in a fair election next year. Why do you have to fiddle with something when you're doing well, right? Why can't you just run? And
Why did you guys do it? I mean, I would have to turn that around. Like, y'all did it like 4 or 5 times. Actually, shoot, you tell me why y'all did it, and I might just pick something from what you say.
Own record and your own argument. I will tell you, they're opening up a Pandora's box because California can change the Constitution. I'll give you a state closer to here. New Jersey has a very, very, very fair process where constitutionally they're allowed to, each side picks a certain number of people to serve on redistricting.
So it's okay when y'all do it, though.
And then you have an outsider break the tie. And the outsider is usually a professor. Democrats in New Jersey, Republicans did very well with congressional redistricting last time around because of that tiebreaker. If you want to change that Constitution tomorrow in New Jersey, the Democratic governor and the Democratic legislature can change that like that and get rid of that.
I think it's important for us to admit what this is. I mean, the president is referring to picking up 5 seats as if they're winning 5 seats, right? It's cheating. It is political cheating. And I'm not saying just Republicans do it, but I think that bipartisan, we should be saying, this is ridiculous. These ideas of redistricting into this extent, right? Occasionally you have to do it based on the census here. But to this extent, either when Democrats do it, and I have called them out for it, and when Republicans do it, it is just cheating. It is a way to try to make these states not be representative of the population that actually exists throughout the state.
And look at North Carolina. Look what's happening there. North Carolina. We would have had Democrats in the majority right now if North Carolina had not gerrymandered the hell out of their map.
I mean, hey, when it works out for you guys, no complaints. When it don't, gerrymandering. I get it. But all right, now, let's get over to a bit of a comedic interlude on this one, guys. Let's laugh. Let's laugh, guys. Let's laugh together. All right, guys, let's get right into it.
This is Abby Phillip, the host of 2 roundtable discussion shows on CNN, Newsnight.
Shout out Abby Phillip, though. But it's just that she always has a very concerned face. I mean, she's a good-looking woman, but she always has this concerned face. It's like she has a perfect face for like news. It's like you just look at her, you just feel like something is always going wrong.
Host of 2 roundtable discussion shows on CNN, Newsnight and Table for 5. On both shows recently, a raid on a California farm was the lead topic.
Raids at a California farm turned dangerous. Migrants, protesters, and federal agents all caught in the chaos.
And you know who created that chaos, right? Spoiler alert, it wasn't the federal agents.
Nope.
It was the protesters who quickly descended on the farm to disrupt the raid by using vehicles to block law enforcement operations and by throwing rocks at ICE and CBP agents.
Okay,
this is not protesting. This is rioting.
But is public opinion turning toward more immigration?
Okay, so Abby Phillip is setting up the narrative that these immigration raids are shifting public opinion of Trump's immigration policy.
A new Gallup poll found 8 in 10 Americans.
All it does is show how radical you guys are. It's like, first off, why are there protesters literally trying to close in law enforcement and attack them with rocks? You don't think that's going to put them on, well, honestly, put people against them, at least the radical ones? Like, you guys are literally promoting, well, or at least I would say somewhat like, I guess, leading your viewers to attack ICE agents. To call them, they already call them terrorists, gazpacho, and all that other wild stuff. So here's the thing: you also got them to call them terrorists, and now they're attacking them. Now they got to stay masked up because if you guys see their face, you're gonna dox them and harass their family members. So the reason why ICE is the way it is today is because of you. And I'm talking about the liberals. Good job, guys. Good job.
Americans believe immigration is a good thing. That's the most support that there's been in 25 years.
But let's read the actual question by Gallup. On the whole, do you think immigration is a good thing or a bad thing for this country today? Notice that it said immigration, not illegal immigration. But apparently, when it comes to these Gallup respondents, the question is up for interpretation. In 2024, when hundreds of thousands...
Yeah, I mean, the effects of legal immigration? Yeah, okay, yeah, for sure. It's great. I like legal immigration. But illegal immigration? No, that's terrible.
Thousands of border crossings were happening monthly. Thanks to the Biden administration's open border policies, the poll results to this question were significantly lower, hitting a 10-year low of 64%. So, on the whole, it's obvious that the reason for the shift in opinion is because Southwest land border encounters have dropped 93% year over year. Thanks to President Trump, of course.
The Gallup had a pretty blockbuster poll today because they've been looking at this issue obviously for a very long time, and they have some comparative data. And what they have found is that Trump has not made immigration less popular.
But for each and every year that Trump has been in office, that number has risen. Probably because Trump isn't anti-immigration.
He's not made a pathway of citizenship less popular. He's made them more popular. So now 78% of Americans say they support a pathway to citizenship for immigrants who are here illegally. That's up 7 points from last year.
So Gallup's question was regarding allowing immigrants living in the U.S. illegally the chance to become U.S. citizens if they meet certain requirements over a period of time. That number is up from 70% of poll respondents in 2024 to 78% in 2025. However,
wow. So we got to start pulling CNN's polling data because they're definitely going to misinform you about it.
What Abby Phillip isn't telling you is that according to Gallup, that number was higher in 2016 and 2019. It's not that Trump made it more popular. It's that Joe Biden's open border policies made it less popular.
Now, Americans say they want more immigration, not less immigration.
Fact check false. The Gallup question was thinking about immigrants, that is, people who come from other countries to live here in the United States. In your view, should immigration be kept at its present level, increased, or decreased? 38% think it should be kept at the present level. 30% think that it should be decreased. And 26% say it should be increased. So, how exactly do these numbers indicate Americans want more immigration? Oh, right, they don't.
Now, Americans say they want less border patrol agents, not more.
But that's not what the question was. Gallup asked poll respondents about their opinion on hiring significantly more border patrol agents. 59% strongly favor hiring more compared to 76% in 2024. So according to Abby Phillip, math genius, when 59% of Americans favor more of something, it actually means that they want less of something. Got it.
Americans say they want less border patrol agents, not more.
So with zero evidence, Abby Phillip is claiming,
even though 77 million of us voted for more border patrol agents, more border wall being built. I mean, crazy, but okay.
That immigration raids are affecting these poll numbers, and members of the Newsnight panel were happy to help spread that misinformation.
What they're really recoiling from and what you're seeing in this poll, and I'm seeing in focus groups, are Jose down the street who's been here for 20 years, or somebody that's picking your food, or somebody who did come here, quote unquote, undocumented or illegal, who they didn't say, I didn't sign up for this.
Why is it that when it comes to the undocumented, the left more often than not claim that they're all picking our food?
This raid yesterday, they were getting chased through the fields. Folks who are picking our food. We should be disgusted by this.
And you said pick our food. I mean, wasn't it a marijuana farm?
I mean, shouldn't we be disgusted on the fact that they're like picking in the field for like below minimum wage? Like, and the fact that children are also being put on certain farms to work, for no pay at all, really. So child slavery involved. And that's on the marijuana farm specifically, but also in some of these, other farms as well, or more agricultural farms.
Oh, right. That California farm was actually Glasshouse Farms, the largest cannabis farm in the United States. But you wouldn't know it based off of Abby Phillips' description of it.
Raids at a California farm turned dangerous.
Wasn't it a marijuana farm, and weren't there illegal child migrants there?
Yeah. Like I said, there was illegal. There was illegals on there. There's illegal child immigrants. Like, this is where we're finding some of these children. They're working on farms for like either dirt cheap or nothing at all. It's child slavery at a certain point. And then, since we're moving them around, it's basically child trafficking as well, but not sex trafficking, labor trafficking. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, and this is what the Dems don't want to bring up. And it's kind of like they're defending it. I'm not going to say that they're defending this, but they're definitely not putting the spotlight on it. And they're the ones wanting to release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Why don't you release those legal immigrants off the damn farms that are children? Why don't you start there?
Like child labor? I mean, the feds go interrupt a marijuana farm with illegal child labor and people are upset about it. I mean, look, I think there's two sides to this story.
Yes, there are two sides of the story, the right side and the wrong side.
As for the children,
And shout out to my man Hellbag. He says, when are we going to get Poland-style border enforcement? Poland-style? I mean, I have to look up Poland's border. I remember I seen India's border and I was impressed. That mug had like a little barbed wire trench in it. I was like, all right, that's kind of cool.
don't know that we've really confirmed their status, documented or not.
According to CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott, 10 juveniles were found at the facility, all illegal aliens, 8 of them unaccompanied, which means that they're in the country without parents or guardians.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, it got grimy and Paul. I remember somebody at the border was poking at the immigrant with a long ass stick, like backing them up. I was like, hey, yo, y'all wild. Like, needed though. It had to happen because they was definitely trying to get over there. But shout out Poland, because they will definitely get your ass off their border quick.
Guardians. But apparently Abby Phillip doesn't care about exploitation or child trafficking or, any of that stuff.
But a lot of people don't know, it's true, that in agriculture in this country, it is legal for children to work there, children sometimes as young as 12. So that's the exception that the agricultural industry has.
Did you see how Abby Phillip is trying to make this about something other than the fact that undocumented and or unaccompanied children were working on a weed grow? Did you know that 12-year-olds are allowed to work on farms?
I just want to go back to the thing I was most concerned about in reading all of this today, and that's that these little...
I mean, if 12-year-olds are allowed to work on farms, which I doubt it, but if they are, then, what's wrong with taking our 12-year-olds off the games, the iPads, and putting their ass on the farm to work, for about 4 to 8 hours a day, and then they can come home and, waste time on the iPad and the game. Like, what's wrong with doing that to our kids? Why we got to go sit out there and, I don't know, traffic other people's kids to work on our farms? It's not even from our country and that don't even get paid. At least if we make our kids do it, they getting paid and, finally getting some outdoor time.
Children are found on these farms. I mean, are we really saying here in the year 2025, well, we have to maintain the status quo of illegal immigration in the United States because we need little children to pick marijuana in California? It's like blowing my mind.
No, Scott, I think you're making a really, frankly, it's a very important point. I mean, the fact that young children, immigrants or not, are working on these farms, whether they're forced to because they have to make money for their families, or maybe they, for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I totally agree that is something that we as a country need to address. There are more than a dozen states in this country allow children to work on farms. Who do you think those children are? Those children are more than likely going to be immigrants or undocumented immigrants.
But the cases we're dealing with today were
I'm just saying it's not a California thing. It's it's a United States of America thing.
Instead of focusing on the fact that undocumented children were working on a weed farm, Abby Phillip is like, did you know children work jobs? But great job.
I mean, dude, I worked a job when I was a kid. Shoot, actually, I'm pretty, bro. I started doing lifting jobs like around that 12, 13 years old. So I don't see the problem with kids getting out there in the field. Like, shoot, take the illegals off, send them back home, and put the kids on the field, guys. You know, and pay the minimum wage. Hey, adults might get in on the action too. You never know. Shoot, it could be a second job.
Phillip and CNN, you're doing God's work.
Let's look at what just happened at the glass house marijuana farm. There are a bunch of kids there that are undocumented or unaccompanied, and they think this is crazy talk, and we should be focusing on that. And for one thing, how did those kids get there?
Well, I just want to add one thing. The UFW, the United Farm Workers, put out a statement about this, that farm work is exempted from child labor laws.
So Abby Phillip was getting that information from a statement by the United Farm Workers, who said in part, farm workers are excluded from basic child labor laws, and it is unfortunately not uncommon for teenagers to work in the fields. Of course, Abby Phillip and the UFW are very wrong here, because of course there are laws that apply to the employment of children in agriculture. For example, the Department of Labor states, if you are not yet 16, there are many restrictions on agricultural work.
Yeah, that is true, because, you know, school, they got to count for your school and all that, and most likely you're going to be part-time. So, yeah, those are the account. That's the account for it. It's like, yeah, when I was working in high school, I had to do part-time. I couldn't do full-time until, like, close to my senior year.
Restrictions include the hours that you're allowed to work and an extensive list of work that you're not allowed to do. And when it comes to the Glasshouse Farms case, the most important restriction is that under California law, no one under the age of 21 is allowed to work in the cannabis industry.
Oh,
so
they'd have to find some guys who are illegal adults. They can't have children working on a weed farm because, well, they're around THC. And I mean, let's be real. I mean, if they're picking it, hopefully they're using gloves. And oh man, yeah, that is wild. That is wild. We forgot about the weed farm part, I guess, that you got to be 21 plus.
The UFW putting out a statement calling for an investigation as to why children were found working on a cannabis farm. They made a broad statement saying it's not uncommon for teenagers to work in the fields, which makes it sound like the law allows children to work there.
You're telling me undocumented?
I'm not saying the undocumented. I'm not talking about
at a marijuana farm.
I'm not talking about the undocumented part, but according to this statement, in this country, not just at farm, not at marijuana farms at all.
Semantics.
Oh man, Jillian Michaels is sick of Abby's BS. Well, as are the rest of us.
Yeah. Look at the reality of what we're talking about.
I mean, no, Julian Michaels, she's sick of anybody who's co-hosting with her. I mean, they have a podcast now. Her, Lindy Lee, and I think that one girl from what was it? It was Chank's Chen, the Young Turks. They all have a podcast, Her Take. I might react to it one day, maybe.
How did an unaccompanied, undocumented 14-year-old in the middle of the day?
I believe that, and many people might believe, children should be subject to child labor laws. But it's true in this country that when it comes to agricultural work, they're not. And that includes marijuana farms.
So Abby is claiming that A, all children aren't subject to child labor laws, which they are, and B, that they're allowed to work on marijuana farms, which they are not. Someone needs to remind Abby Phillip and her producers that they work on an alleged news network and need to accurately report the facts, not just parrot back a press release from a corrupt labor union. This is why people...
I mean, come on, guys. Is it wild just to say, you know what, deport all the illegal farm help and make these guys have to pay minimum wage to legal farm help? And if you want to get some of these guys over here on a work visa, I mean, cool. You still got to pay them. You still got to pay them correctly. So, or you still got to pay the minimum wage. So it is what it is. Like, I'm not mad either way. I just don't like the farms being able to take advantage of illegals. Like, I don't think that's right. All right, now let's go over to Piers Morgan. He slams travel YouTubers, what they call them, the Tali-bros. So pretty much it's a bunch of YouTubers who go over to these countries that are banned by the US, or that has a US travel restriction or travel ban, and they go over there to see what it's like, to see why there's a travel ban. And it's actually funny, a lot of these countries are actually welcoming to these YouTubers who do so. So you know what? I might go to Afghanistan, F around and find out for my damn self. But all right, guys, let's get into this Pierce Morgan debate about it.
We have one message from America.
Welcome to Afghanistan.
Women are out in the streets. They're out and about. Have more rights than men.
I mean, could you imagine? Like, when I first saw it, I'm like, damn, this kid's about to get beheaded. Man, that's tough. But
we have one message from America.
Welcome to Afghanistan.
Women are out in the streets. They're out and about. Have more rights than men.
Why on earth would you peddle such delusional, disingenuous crap to the world?
It's easy to look at it from just a single perspective.
Well, what did you see that you broadcast to the world on your channel?
The women were very happy from what we saw.
In their family homes?
In their family homes, yeah. But you've been?
Have I been?
Women being happy, being locked up in their homes in Afghanistan. One of the reasons I became a journalist, I find it quite emotional listening.
Now the tide of journalism is changing.
You're not doing journalism, Arab. Do me a bloody favor, mate. The attitude of these Tali-bros.
I don't agree with any of these things, of course, but...
Oh, bro, you're a Tali-bro and you put women in cages, don't you?
Didn't you say to a young girl back in your cage in one of your
like clearly videos? Sarcasm. Like it was.
Are you opposed to the radicalization of young children?
Of course.
This is from your trip entitled "Young Taliban Train Me for War." The US State Department and the UK's Foreign Office could not be clearer. Do not travel to Afghanistan for any reason. Ever since the disastrous US withdrawal, media coverage has understandably focused on the rapid rollback of rights and the atrocious plight of women under Taliban rule. The Taliban, however, thinks we've got it all wrong. Taliban-linked social media accounts have been amplifying this promotional video, which aims to persuade US tourists to swap Cancun for Kabul.
We have one message from America.
Welcome to Afghanistan.
I mean, looks like a beautiful country.
What's up, Yusuf?
Shoot, I want to go swimming with an AK. Why not?
And the American souvenir. Oh, it's not even on safety right now.
Yo. 10-pound ramen fat.
Probably worth reminding ourselves as we watch that promo video, it's now 1,396 days since the Taliban banned teenage girls from going to school. And
I mean, the Taliban has done wilder things. I mean, look, the reason why he can't show women, or they can't show women, is because, I mean, showing women's face or any body part in public or even in pictures or media. So, yes, I mean, even when they take pictures, that is forbidden. You're not allowed to show women at all on camera or in picture. So the Taliban is it's damn near part of their religion. They're going off their religious text that women are just supposed to be wrapped the hell up or burqa'd up.
136 days since the Taliban banned women from going to university. So is tourism really a viable means of reviving a desolate economy in a country scarred by decades of war? Was it just whitewashing the Taliban? A rising number of adventurous content creators, dubbed Tali-bros, think it's the former. Well, joining me now is Yalda Hakim, who's the presenter of The World on Sky News, and 3 YouTube.
And it is wild because women and girls are banned from secondary school and university, making Afghanistan the only country preventing females from education beyond 6th grade. And that is crazy. You know what? I'm going to have a wild argument for you guys later on.
Who've all spent time in Afghanistan. The Lebanese-American adventure traveler calls himself Arab, the travel YouTuber Harry Jagged, and the Canadian YouTuber Nolan Samur for the channel Seal on Tour. Well, welcome to all of you. Let me start with you, Arab, if I may. Do you want to give us your actual name, or is that the name you prefer to use?
I mean, I I took over the word Arab across the majority of social medias by being called Arab. So I think that's a powerful responsibility, and we'll go by that name.
Okay, well, I want to play a clip that you gave the world. Let's take a look at this.
Got a big ass machine gun here.
Follow me along this journey as I sit with suicide bombers, generals, scholars, and the protectors of Sharia law as they try to convert me to a jihadi warrior for the next 7 days.
Time for what?
I think it's time for Pledge Allegiance, my friend.
Pledge allegiance.
I need to give me one of those hats.
As I sleep in their
joking
homes
reasons.
by standing on my beliefs but respecting the culture, I will put all biases aside to document the Taliban from a perspective of humanity and earn respect amongst its elders.
Guys, this is insane. I'm surrounded by little kid Taliban.
I mean,
women.
Dang, I ain't gonna lie though. It's weirdly, it's effed up, but I mean, it's wild because they're literally in military gear with fake little weapons and all that, you know, preparing for their jihadist lifestyle. Oof, that's tough.
This is insane. I'm surrounded by little kid Taliban.
Women are out in the streets. They're
Little
out and
baby
about. The
rocket
whole
launcher.
they don't have rights thing here. We've just learned that they have more rights than men.
Women can travel too.
Women can travel to Afghanistan, and women will be safe if they travel to Afghanistan.
What, bruh? I'm sorry, but no. I mean, they'll be safe if they stay in the hotel. Like, sure. I mean, they'll be safe if they stay next to their man. Wrap the hell up. You damn right. Yeah, they'll be safe if then, but if not, you might as well send old girl back home, man. You might as well come by yourself, G.
So my question for you, Arab, and I say this with all due respect, but why on earth would you peddle such delusional, disingenuous crap to the world, given the statistics I just read out to you, which, by the way, I only know those statistics because Yalda, who was born in Kabul, actually promotes these figures on a regular basis.
And we maybe all be appalled, but remember, this is kind of our fault, you know, due to, you know, destabilizing the region back in the early 2000s. So let's remember, guys, it's kind of our fault.
To update the world about what is actually happening to women there. So my question for you is, why be part of the Taliban's propaganda machine? What's in it for you?
You know, it's easy to look at it from just a single perspective, but as travelers, as travel YouTubers, what we tend to do is we go to places and we try to see the humanity in it all in order to bridge a gap of peace through the humor, through the humanization, through being able to talk to people from different cultures. If we constantly peddle the same sort of narratives that are always pushed on Western media, what then tends to happen is what you're seeing happen in the world right now, where everything is being bombed by every.
No, like, look, previous legal protections like the 1964 and 2004 constitutions and ministries dedicated to women affairs have been abolished and replaced. So yeah, they did actually used to have, well, women's rights, or at least some type of women's rights, but now Taliban gained full control. Done.
Everyone and everything, and that's not really what we want to do now, because of the power of the internet and the ability to hold the entire universe in your hand. You have travel YouTubers spawning from all walks of life, influencers who are now using this little device to start documenting their lives, and they're seeing that this whole news narrative that we've been pushed our entire lives is false, because you attract what it is that you put out into the world. And so if you're going into these places and you are coming from a lens of coming to enjoy this place, experience it, etc., you'll get a completely different thing than if you're coming.
So just to be clear, all right, look, I'm sorry.
Oh, I get that. I mean, if you're coming there to try to understand the people and get down and, you know, get along with the culture, then yeah, you're going to find out a lot more if you just come in here going like, you should give women's rights. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. How could you do this to the children? And I'm like, yeah, I feel you, bro, but that's going to get your ass kicked up out that country. And they're not going to tell you anything. You're to gain no understanding, and you're just going to have an overlying bias and hatred for these people, which, I mean, I guess is reasonable, I guess.
Just to interrupt you, but just to be clear, did you see girls going to school? Did you see women going to university? Did you see women playing sport at representative level? What did you see that you
We didn't go to
broadcast to
any
the world on your
university.
channel?
We did go to schools. We did go into family homes where the women were very happy from what we saw.
In their
We were
family
welcome-
homes?
In their family homes, yeah. They have a different society, okay? Maybe their
Well, you don't
culture.
think they wanted to go to school and university? They don't want to.
They might
They're all
want
quite
many,
happy.
in many different places in the world, many women want many things, right?
No, I'm just asking you, in your experience in Afghanistan with the
Sure.
Taliban,
Yep.
your experience was women are quite happy to be stuck at home, unable.
I mean, yes, actually, I know it's hard to hear this, guys, but yes, I mean, some women are actually very proud to hold true to their faith, and they don't believe that they should be outside the house. I mean, this is how their mind is being conditioned. Okay, like you guys got to understand that this is how they're conditioned. This is how they want to live, and not all of them, but a majority of them. I mean, you see that's why they're willingly staying out of the camera. Sometimes you can try to invite the woman on camera, and they won't do it because they're oppressed to do. No, they do it because they're conditioned to. So it's not oppression, it's conditioning.
Able to go to school or university. That's your takeaway from the Taliban regime.
When you want to word it like that to sensationalize it.
It's true. It's actually true. Those
Have you
are
been?
facts.
Right, but you've been?
Have I been?
Yeah.
No, but funnily enough, Yalda has. So let me bring Yalda in here. Yalda, just for those who don't know your story, I do. But just very quickly summarize, you were born in Kabul. What happened to you?
Well, Piers, I find it sort of quite extraordinary, actually. And frankly, quite emotional listening to Arab or Addison, whatever you call yourself, speak there about women being happy, being locked up in their homes in Afghanistan. One of the reasons I became
I mean, let's be real. I mean, they could be happy doing that. It's hard for me to imagine it, but due to me seeing how Muslims get down over here and how they can carry those practices even over here, even when they get to America with more freedoms and all that, they still choose to wear the burqa completely, not be in photos or anything like that. So I can't even really say that it's the Taliban's fault. Sometimes they come over here and do the same damn thing. And like I say, conditioning.
Journalist is because I, as a young girl growing up in Australia, and my family were pushed out of Afghanistan because of the Soviet invasion of the country, I saw what happened to young Afghan girls during Taliban 1.0. The fact that they weren't allowed to go to school, the fact that no one knew in the outside world. And you're absolutely right, Arab, when you talk about having mobile phones now where these things can be documented. So today's Taliban is frankly no different to the Taliban of the 1990s. But the difference is we now know what they're doing. We can now document the fact that they aren't allowing girls to go to school. I myself come.
Now, here's the thing, and this is going to sound wreck what I'm about to tell y'all, but I mean, can we ignore the whole women's right thing to get along with the Taliban? Is it possible for us to look past? I'm just for peaceful reasons. Can we just look past that and be happy that our women don't got to go through that? I mean, is that possible for us to enter that realm of thinking?
From a position of privilege.
Or is like, yo, Set, you tripping, bro, you're asking too much.
Because I was able to be educated in the West. My family raised me in Australia, and I became a journalist because one of the reasons was because of what I saw Afghan girls go through in Afghanistan. But the shtick here for these people, Piers, and frankly, it is a shtick. Go to dangerous places and glorify what's going on there, and frankly, because it's not a hellhole they have to live in.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it incredible, Arab. You were surrounded by men, and you don't seem to understand what's actually happening there because they don't want you to understand. Or worse, you totally understand, but there's no money in it for you in telling the actual truth. The money is in being part of the Taliban. The money is in being part of the Taliban.
Here's the thing, though. We do have a crazy framing of how women live in these Muslim countries, and you'd be quite surprised. I mean, I remember the little video that some guy went into Iran, and Iran was definitely more freer to, I mean, look, women got way more rights in Iran than Afghanistan. We could just get that out the way right now. The only problem is, though, the whole veiled and unveiled thing. There's certain areas in Iran where you can be veiled. You have to be veiled. In certain parts where you can be unveiled because they're more liberal parts. Afghanistan, I mean, it's through and through.
Man, propaganda machine. We've all got these guys wrong. They're the nicest people you'll ever meet. They gave me a nice meal.
You know what?
They took me to meet.
I mean, let's be real. They probably would be nice to a man. If you're going over there as a man, yeah, they'll accept you. White man, black man, don't matter. Arab man, don't matter. Especially if you're an American. Let's be real. The Taliban knows better than to hurt an American citizen or to even hold us hostage, because we will come through and bomb them for just one of us. Like, come on now, guys. So the Taliban knows better. So yes, we can expect good behavior from them and for them to be nice to us. Now, to accept their ideals, never. But for them to show hospitality, well, it's part of their religion.
Their women in the homes.
You know,
I mean, do you not understand that you've been used here? One thing that I have in common with Harry and Meghan is that we all value privacy.
Nah, the dude on the end low-key was thinking like, you know, should I have hopped up on here? Because Pierce was supposed to have a conversation with these cats, but he ended up just kind of like, you know, berating them. Let's keep it real. Yeah, supposed to have a conversation, end up just going at their necks. And I'm just like, huh, crazy.
In a way, of course, you are used. Yeah, because you have a platform and you have the ability to shift perspective. And that's why we do what we do. Now, you might look at it and you go, okay, you're humanizing and you're glorifying. No, since the beginning of time in media, there have been people that go to places, and now the tide of journalism is changing. Old journalism is no longer a thing. New journalism is going through.
You're not doing journalism, Arab. Do me a bloody favor, mate. You're not doing.
I've been to Haiti.
You're not doing journalism.
Warlords in Haiti.
You're a travel PR for the Taliban.
Cartel. I've been to the top favela leaders.
Whoopie-doo. Whoopie-doo. A journalist goes to Afghanistan, mate, and they report the truth.
I mean, whoa. Pierce. He went. Come on now. That is journalism. Just because bro went there and didn't do what you wanted him to do, pretty much just what? You want him to insult their entire culture in front of them? Where was that going to get the young man? You basically tell him to go over there and damn near commit suicide. It's like, what? You might as well go tell him to hang himself at that point. Yeah, go over to the Taliban and tell them how they should free their women, let them out the house, let them dress however. Yeah, like, how's that going to work, buddy? Or go over to Haiti and tell them gangs that, well, really Haiti is ran by gangs at this point. Not one gang, but multiple gangs. But go over there and tell them, yo, stop eating your people and cut all this gang stuff. No, they're going to put you in the ground and cook your ass. It's like, you got to come over there and play nice. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe that's why Pierce don't go into these other countries. Because if he's coming with that energy, Pierce is going to die. And I would not want that for that man. Like, come on.
But the reality is that other journalists have never been able to reach these top levels.
You're not a journalist.
They always come in with some sort of specific.
I'm sure if I said to the Taliban, hey, guys, well, what I'm going to do is come and say what a lovely place it is and what nice guys you are and why the women all love to be at home and not at school and university or playing sport. I'm sure they go, oh, that's great, Piers.
Great.
Come to our country and we'll take good care of you. Let me bring in
what I said.
Let me bring in Harry. Well, you pretty much did say. I saw the video. Harry, you're English. You went to Afghanistan in 2023. You say you.
Hey man, if a house is considered a cage, hey, it is what it is.
Found the Taliban to be shockingly friendly. Let's take a look at a clip of you there with a local Afghan child.
What do they want to be when they're older?
Huh? Soldiers.
Mujahid?
Jihad.
Oh, wow.
Who wants to be Mujahid?
I remember that word. Wow, amazing.
I said the war is over. Why do you want to be Mujahid?
Does that mean the soldier?
Yeah, soldier.
Oh, wow. Is he educated in normal other subjects?
Nope. At the madrasa, they study only religion. No mathematics, no science.
Nothing.
No computer.
Nothing, just the Quran. All they do is read the Quran and prepare to be soldiers just in case. Because, well, you know, the Taliban is a very like weird group of people. It's almost like they're like scarred people of war. Like that's all they know is war against anybody who tries to threaten their extreme Muslim lifestyle. Which is damn near why I say, yeah, let's leave these guys alone. Let them do what they do. Maybe further on down the line, they'll gain women's rights. I mean, we came to it when nobody bothered us. We didn't start off with women's rights. I don't know. Let them get to it. Man, give them like 50 years or so.
Oh, so that's all they do. They just read the Quran all day. Yeah. That's super interesting.
Super interesting. And they were shockingly friendly. Didn't see many women there. Harry, were they all being happy at home or what was the deal?
I feel like you've taken a lot of content and you've just nitpicked like the only negative interaction I've had.
You posted it, not
Yeah,
me.
I ain't gonna lie, I'd have been a dick. I'd have been like, yes, Pierce, she's happy at home, chilling in her burqa, cooking for the 5 to 7 kids that they have on average. Yes, Pierce, she's very happy. Like, bruh.
Hey.
Yeah, but there was I filmed
I'm
3
not
hours.
here to post every single minute of content you've ever put up.
No,
I've chosen an example of something which a little bit like Arab. I think what the trouble is with you Tali-bros, which is a disgusting term anyway, is that what you're doing, and you may not even realize it, or maybe you do. Like I say, I don't know. Only you know your motivation. But you're going in there saying the Taliban is shockingly friendly. The Taliban are shockingly disgusting.
I mean, yeah. So what am I supposed? I would have to ask Pierce. So I go in there, they treat me well, they feed me, they house me, they show me around their country. I'm supposed to be disgusted by that? Like, bro, what are you saying? I'd have been very confused. Like, bro, what are you saying? You're pretty much telling me they're supposed to show me all this hospitality. I'm supposed to spit on it and say you're disgusting. Like, nah, I'm sorry. I personally wouldn't have done that.
One of the most repressive regimes, particularly for women, that we've ever seen. And it arguably second time round, they're worse than they were first time round. And as a result, women are trapped in the home. They cannot go out. They cannot go to school. They cannot go to university. They cannot represent their country at sport.
True.
The whole thing's a bloody disgrace. And there's you Tali-bros dancing around with the Taliban. Like this.
Here's the thing, though. Is this just about women's rights? And I know. You're like, say, are you for real? And I'm like, no, I'm dead ass. Is this just about women's rights? Like I said, could we not look past this? Like, can we just be happy that we got women's rights in our country? And can our women be happy instead of trying to go in there? Now, feminists, you know what? I'll give y'all a challenge. If you care so much about women's rights, then why don't y'all go into the Taliban and try doing that protesting there and see how that works out? Like, please try that. Because, is it that serious, Pierce? Is it really all like, so they're disgusting? And I'll be real with you. How they treat women is low-key disgusting in my taste too. But can we not look past that? Since they're treating us nice, like we can go over there, we can visit them, and all we gotta do is not sit there and talk about women's rights. Can you get over it for like a week in Afghanistan?
It's all a bit of a party. Like it's all a bit of fun, Harry. So justify yourself.
So if I was to not go to a country because
and we cannot complain about child soldiers when we got kids out here with 14 years old with AK-47s. Well, not AK-47, sorry, but AR-15s. And have guns by themselves. What you mean? We got child soldiers here. It's called taking your kid hunting with you.
I don't agree with some of the rules and regulations.
Well, do you think you're a journalist too or not?
I'm not saying that.
What do you think you are?
You're interrupting me, Pierce. So if I was to not travel, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a content creator.
Okay.
I just travel and I document what I see. I went to Afghanistan with zero agenda. I'm not working for anyone. I work for myself.
Yeah, honestly, I'll consider bro more of a journalism than Pierce. I'll be like, Pierce, why don't you go there into the Taliban and say this to their face and see how that works out for you? Or you're going to go there and play just like these guys did.
Zero agenda. And I filmed what I saw. And what I saw was they were nice to me. Were they nice to me for a reason because I'm making content? Of course they were. I realize that. But I can only tell you what I saw. I can't tell you what was going on behind closed doors or anything. Do I agree with all their rules? Of course I don't. I've been to North Korea. Do I agree with their rules? Absolutely not. But I saw what I saw and I had a positive experience. So am I going to tell you I had a negative experience? No.
Well, tell me some negative things about the Taliban while I've got you.
Of course I don't. I don't agree with how they treat women. Of course I don't.
What do you think of the way they treat women? Speaking as a Tali-bro,
I'm not gonna not travel to Afghanistan because.
Tell me what you really think of the way the Taliban treat women.
Well, I didn't go to. I didn't go to.
I'm asking you right now. Tell me what you think of the way. It's not funny.
No, it is funny. I'm not gonna lie, bro. You're kind of. It's funny because you're hardlining on the women thing, and I'm just like, well, what about like somebody said in the chat? What about the child soldiers? You see child soldiers there. What about them? Is it just about the women? They turn the little boys into kid soldiers. Like, what about that? All right. Look, my bad. Let's get back to it.
So I know why you're laughing. I'm just challenging you to tell the truth. Look at you all laughing. Not all. I'll come to in a moment. Just to be clear, none of this is funny. It might be funny to you two. And that's fine. And
No,
you
it's
get your
funny the way
clicks
that you're
and you make your
directing
money
this.
and you make your money
Mike,
propping up an evil regime. That's funny to you. It's not
No,
funny
I'm
to
not-
me.
I don't
And it's
find
not
that
funny
funny.
to Yalda, who has run a foundation.
I mean, I would have to ask Pierce. I'm like, Pierce, so you're telling me if I go to Afghanistan right now, I'm not going to meet one woman that's not happy to be in that house in that burqa. She don't care about school or nothing. All she care about is Islam and her husband. I mean, it's wild to think about, but you're telling me I'm just going to find a woman that's just all of them are going to be unhappy? And then who's to say our way of life is just going to make them ultimately happy? I'm just saying. And then let's be real, guys. We gave our women's rights a while ago, and the Muslim countries have been looking at us ever since. And did we give them the best example of what women's rights can do for us? I mean, no, guys, take a genuine analysis right now of what we've shown through women's rights, like women's suffrage, sexual revolution, feminism, all this stuff. Like, come on, guys. Can we really blame them? Like, let's be real. They really showed them the best example of what women's rights can do for a country. I mean, I'll leave y'all to answer that one.
A brilliant foundation for a long period of time, helping poor young girls in Afghanistan who are being repressed in the most shocking, disgusting manner. So let me again.
Oh yeah, shout out Galactic. Yeah, shout out my man Galactic, man. Appreciate you. He says Pierce supports Saudis and they try to treat their women terribly too. Yeah, well, they do treat their women terribly too. So, like I said, it's like picking and choosing. It's like, all right, well, you don't like the Taliban, but you're okay with the Saudis, so you ain't gonna speak on how the Saudis treat their women. I mean, they do some wild things too now. All Muslim countries like low key kind of like. Let's be real. Women here, if they figure out they truly know what goes down in most of the Muslim countries, they would be appalled. Like, especially the younger generation of women, they would probably be a little bit more appreciative of how they got in America. If you show them how other women or young women got in other countries like Afghanistan.
Let me again go to Yalda. Look, I just find the attitude of these.
And really think about this, guys. I mean, so this is going to sound so effed up when I say it, but I apologize in advance. So think about it like this. We put women in the workforce. I mean, we've educated them and, well, they've educated themselves. And what did that give us? No, really. What did this give us, guys? I mean, we got lower wages. We got feminism. We got, well, more women that rather be single or working in the workforce. The women who actually want to build family. We got declining birth rates. Do you not think these Arab countries look at that and be like, huh? I mean, the Americans gave their women's rights and let them go to school. Look how that worked out for them. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that idea out there. I may not agree with it, but it was just a wild thought that I had if I was like one of them Muslim leaders. And I'm like, you want me to give women's rights? Look, how'd that work out for y'all? Why should I do it? Just saying.
Tali-bros, almost offensive as the propaganda they spew out.
We're
you
not
are a Tali-bro, whether you like it or not. Yalda, your response to Harry, who thinks the Taliban are all just shockingly friendly to him.
Well, the fact that they think they're friendly or they're laughing about the situation just shows the extreme privilege. You know, being a Westerner, frolicking around these places because you think you can, frankly. And the women of these countries, and especially Afghanistan, I mean, in the 21st century, it is the only country on the planet that, as a matter of policy, the de facto government has decided that girls and women should not go to school and should not go to university. The fact that they won't allow mothers to take their children to parks. But I'm glad you guys were having a good time. And as far as having access to the top aspects.
So what, they were supposed to have a bad time because the women weren't? Like, I mean, I'm so confused of what the argument is here. Is like, so I'm glad you were having a good time while women over there suffering. I'm like, well, damn, what did you guys want me to do? Start liberating women?
Of the leadership of the Taliban, I have sat down with members of the Haqqani network, one of the most brutal wings of the militant wings of the Taliban, where different points in the last 20 years when the Allied forces were in the country, they at any given time, they would launch a suicide attack in the center of Kabul and kill up to 100 people. So the fact that you guys think maybe the country is now safe because the Taliban are no longer launching suicide attacks on the country, or you somehow think this is the culture of a country, the fact that they're repressing and oppressing women, and then you think it's actually funny when you talk about it, is frankly a disgrace.
Yeah, and Harry, let me just remind you you, I don't know if you know this, but in November 2022, the Taliban announced a new slate of extreme.
So I would actually, so how did that work out for you? So you sat in front of these guys and what? You tell them how bad they are towards women. Did you get to sneak a couple women out of Afghanistan? Like what? You're mad that you went there searching for problems and they went there, well, searching for a good time, and they were informed. They got to see the lifestyle. They got to kick it with the Taliban. It's like, I don't know. I can't really see what the problem here is. This kind of sounds like they just want them. They're just mad that they went to the Taliban and didn't paint a bad picture of it. It's like, so you're telling me if I go to, I don't know, let's say I do F around and go to like Gaza or something. If I don't come back paint Hamas as a villain, bro, they're going to crucify me. Well, media-wise.
Laws banned women from parks and gyms, reintroduced public flogging and executions. Like I say, barred women from university grounds and tutoring centers, and stoning. We will flog the women. We will stone them to death in public, said the Taliban's supreme leader in an audio message issued in March 2024. I didn't see any of that in your YouTube content. I mean, did it not make the edit, or did you not want to look for that stuff?
Huh? Whoa. Wait. How would he even catch that?
Stone them to death in public, said the Taliban's supreme leader in an audio message issued in March 2024. I didn't see any of that in your YouTube content. I mean, did it not make the edit, or did you not want to look for that stuff?
So you wanted me to go out there and look for women getting stoned? Like, bro, what? And then here's the thing. I mean, most women are already conditioned in that lifestyle, so they're not too pressed to go outside, especially if they know it's going to be with the consequence of getting stoned. Like, trust me. I mean, really, girls, would you really go out there and try to disrespect the Afghanistani, like the Taliban's laws if it meant that you were going to get stoned? And I'm talking about they tie you to a pole and throw rocks at you. It's like, that's just not it. Come on now. Like, that's ridiculous, Pierce. Like, why would they go looking for women getting stoned? And especially if all the women are in cages.
No,
again, not funny. No, stonings aren't funny. So try and take it a bit more seriously.
No, it's funny because it's just like, on the premise is like, so I was supposed to go looking for stoning? Like, bro, what are you saying?
You keep laughing as if it's all a big joke.
No, I find it funny how an amazing country, there's 40 million people in Afghanistan, and obviously they don't all support the Taliban, and I absolutely do not support them. And I think the funny thing is that we're on the same page in that I don't agree with any of these things, of course, but you're making it seem like I do agree with them. And
bro, you're a Tali-bro and you put women in cages, don't you?
Didn't you say to a young girl back in your cage in one of your
clearly
videos?
sarcasm? Like, it was so obviously sarcasm.
It's not sarcastic it's not funny or sarcastic for the women who are literally in cages right now.
And women who are being stoned to death in Afghanistan probably don't share your glib sense of humor about it. Let me bring in Nolan. So Nolan, you got a slightly more nuanced take, thankfully. Let's play a clip of what you put up.
I'm gonna be honest, and this is gonna come at no surprise, but it's a complete sausage fest in here. I got all these gentlemen surrounding me, but never in my life have I been surrounded by women. Hello, sir. Good to meet you. I'm good. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. I'm gonna need some hand sanitizer. This hand is getting a little touchy. Maybe we could go play some volleyball. I have like a huge team of people I could play volleyball with. Seal and his Legion of Doom. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was funny. I don't know why his friend hit him. I have a new name.
Like, oh my goodness, a white man.
For my posse. It's a Seal and his Legion of Doom. Where are we going? Me and my Legion of Doom are gonna go play volleyball. We're gonna kick some ass because we just have numbers, you know?
So let me ask you, clearly very few women again, do you understand that all of you guys in different ways are helping the Taliban with the content that you largely put up? Or are you prepared now, for example, to be completely condemnatory about everything the Taliban regime stands for, from your own experience? Many of us carry around bulky.
I mean, let's be real. It just goes to show that, I guess you can't listen to American fear-mongering on these travel bans, because I guess you can go to Taliban and be cool. I'm sorry, but Afghanistan and everything works out well. Actually, man, look, They'll house you, they'll feed you, they'll show you around and all that good stuff. You know, but they'll keep you away from the women in cages and being stoned. So don't expect to see that.
And how I helped the Taliban. I don't quite understand how Harry would have helped the Taliban. I think you guys came down pretty hard on him. The fact of the matter is, when you travel to Afghanistan, I know Harry and I know his content, and he just wanted to be a tourist and he just wanted to document what the country's currently like. And when you're a tourist in Afghanistan, you can't avoid the Taliban. You're always going through Taliban checkpoints, and you're always being invited to talk and have tea with them. Regardless, if you fundamentally disagree with their beliefs, which I personally do, it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you return to your original question?
Well, would you happily condemn the Taliban regime now?
No, and no. I didn't in my content.
That's my point. That's my point. So you guys are getting used because.
Condemn them for what? Like feeding, housing them, like showing them around, being cool with them. Like you want to condemn them for showing them a good time. It's not like, bro, if the Taliban walked around bragging that they're putting women in cages and stoning them and just showing it to them, okay, yeah, they probably come back shaking up like, yo, yeah, these guys are evil. But no, they went out there and showed them a good ass time, and I kicked it with kids that are preparing to be jihadists, sadly.
Possible for any rational human being not to condemn the Taliban.
Harry did. I think Harry and Arab, in certain circumstances when you travel in Afghanistan, you know, a lot of people try to travel to this country and be very apolitical. It's hard to ignore what's going on there, but some people truly just want to see the beauty of this country. But regardless, you can't move through this country without being meeting the Taliban, being involved, going through their checkpoints, even being invited to sit down and have tea with them.
Right, but the reason you're not prepared to condemn the regime is, I assume, because you may want to go back. You may want to go back there, and you know what may happen to you if you do.
I was one of the only YouTubers who actually came forward and talked about the current state of women's rights. It wasn't the clips you just showed. That was more me kind of having fun with the situation at hand, with I had 100 gentlemen following me, but there was many moments where I was in public spaces that women couldn't frequent, and I decided I wanted to comment on this.
Okay.
There are also many times, Pierce, in the content where I went to a women's market and sarcastically, the same way she saw me say, "Get back in the cage," I started wearing the burqas and laughing at how oppressed is the word that you would use, but how covered the women are and how they treat them, but you wouldn't show that clip.
Well, okay, well, here's your chance.
Condemn a little piece and then call us Tali-bros when that word isn't even for us.
So do you condemn? You are known as the Tali-bros, whether you like it or not, because if people think you're...
Now, you kind of went against your argument on saying that, you know, you say all women are oppressed, but I wouldn't use that word. I would say conditioned. They're conditioned to think this is okay, because if you actually go in there, I'm pretty sure some women are absolutely perfect with not being able to go to school and staying home all day, burkered up with their children. Like, I can see them getting down with the get down like that.
Being used as a propaganda tool, and I can quite understand why. I mean, I'll ask you, Arab, again. Arab, just to be clear, do you condemn the Taliban regime? Unreservedly.
I don't go around the world and condemn people.
Okay, great. And you've answered my question.
Because of my job.
No, you don't get a do-over.
My job is to sit with some of the
do-over. You either condemn evil regimes or you don't. You've made your position clear. Your content is more important to you than telling the truth.
As much as I can about their personality.
Sure.
That's what I
mean. I have to hit them with the Pierce. If they're oh so evil, then why am I here still? I mean, why am I still here? If they're oh so evil, why didn't they just kidnap me, hold me for ransom? If they're oh so evil. Actually, if they're oh so evil, why not just brag about what they do and show me the stoning of a woman? Show me some evil stuff.
Dude, let me help you with the personalities of a Taliban. They hate women.
All of them.
Yeah, okay. Let me bring Yalda back in. Yeah, Yalda, the terrible withdrawal under Joe Biden of American troops. We all watched it unfurl on television, but it had an instant and cataclysmically bad impact, particularly for women in Afghanistan, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You quoted the numbers there, Piers. 1,400 days almost since Afghan girls over the age of 12 haven't been able to go to school. Almost 1,000 days since women haven't been able to go to universities. One by one, their rights were taken away. Women can't go to salons, for example. I talked about the fact that they can't even take their children to the park. I've traveled as I said, to Afghanistan multiple times across the country, down to Kandahar. I've been to madrasas where young boys were being radicalized. I've gone on a ISIS raid with the Taliban where they were going after ISIS suicide bombers. But frankly, this is still an incredibly dangerous country. And as you say, there is a reason why the State Department, the FCDO, has put a travel ban on the country. So the fact that these guys are going there and glorifying the situation and not giving a full picture of frankly, the dangers that so many women and girls and men who speak up against the Taliban continue to face and linger in prisons, detained and tortured if they come out and protest against these groups. But to sort of think it's funny that you tell little girls to go back into their cages when frankly in the next few years they won't be able to go to school, or they'll be subject to child marriage, or they'll be subject to another form of oppression, because you get a lot of clicks on your YouTube videos, is something to think about.
Shoot, I wouldn't do it for the clicks. I'd do it for the experience. I'm like, what? You can go to Afghanistan and like talk to the Taliban? That's interesting. I'm not gonna lie. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and switch topics here. Now, let's get to inside a family's move to self-deport from the USA. I mean, yeah, let's get into it. Let's see how this self-deportation process works out for people. And then, of course, we'd be CNN covering it.
The Trump administration just took a major step to potentially lock up millions of undocumented immigrants. In a recent memo, the acting director of ICE told agents that immigrants who arrived in the U.S. illegally were no longer eligible for a bond hearing while they fight their deportations in court. In other words, those previously allowed to remain out on bond as their case made its way through the immigration system, a process that could take years, now must be taken into custody and remain there until they're deported. Tactics like these are leading some undocumented immigrants to self-deport and sometimes take the American citizens in their families with them. Here's CNN's Priscilla Alvarez with that story.
These are the main pictures from our house that we didn't want to just throw away.
Sasha Mendoza has the impossible task of packing up her family's life in Pittsburgh into a handful of suitcases.
It's really hard to tell a 4-year-old that they can't bring their toys or their stuffed animal. There's just not enough room. We can't put a stuffed animal and then have no pants. I've literally never felt anxiety the way that I have in the last few years here.
So you are saying bye to the U.S. for good?
For good, yeah. Yeah, for good.
Fearful of President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, Sasha, her husband Julio, and their 3 kids are leaving behind the life they built together.
What are you the most excited for in Mexico? The pool. The pool? And the beach. The beach?
Julio is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. Sasha and their 3 children are all U.S. citizens. They decided to make the move together only moments after Trump took office.
It was an executive order being signed, and that was her call for. Said, like, what do you think about moving to Mexico? And I said, honestly, at this point, yeah, let's do it.
We're gonna move to Mexico. We're gonna move to Mexico, not today.
And with that, the family began to wind down their lives, sifting through keepsakes and moving out of their home.
Say bye to the house.
Bye.
Miss you.
When you were dating, did your status as being undocumented come up at all?
On our first date, we kind of like were mentioning it without mentioning it. And at one point, he ordered a drink and he asked for extra ice, and I said, "No, we don't do ice here." And he was like, That was like the only.
Hey, yo, that's a crazy risk you put your kids at, G. That's essay, like amigo, bro. What? Now you gotta uproot the whole fam and self-deport with your proportionally sized wife, and you gotta take your kids all the way out to Mexico and then go back for to get her back in. Like, how long is that gonna take? How long y'all gonna be out of Mexico for? You gotta uproot your whole family for this? That's tough. That's tough.
So by the way,
Julio crossed the U.S. southern border when he was 11 years old, and he's lived in Pittsburgh ever since.
One of his first concerns when we talked about moving is like, how am I going to watch the Steeler games?
You're a Pittsburgh native for all intents and purposes.
Oh my God, yeah.
What made Trump a second term more nerve-wracking for you, that to come to a decision that you had to leave the country?
there are no limits. There are no limits on being a target. The only main concern is like, he looks brown, he looks different, he don't speak English. He's the one.
I mean, well, 9 times out of 10 you are. I mean, bro, you married the one. She's the illegal here. Like, bro, what? And it's wild because you would think they'd be skinnier, seeing that they got to do all this evading and running. I mean, you would think, but I mean, hey, when you this big, you might as well self-deport, right?
Main concern is like he looks brown, he looks different, he don't speak English. He's the one. It doesn't matter.
That's where things stand tonight in the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
They were confronted with their worst nightmare when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to a notorious mega prison in El Salvador.
I can see myself in that, and I don't want us to wait until we're in the same situation.
There are people who will say, you came to the U.S.
He's a media hating for agendas, unbiased media my ass. It's sad, ain't it? Yeah, it is sad. And he says, stop it, Seth. Wait, what did I do?
legally. Why didn't you do it the right way? What do you say to people?
If you were to be put in my situation at my age to tell me do it the right way, the whole process pretty much takes about 15 to 20 years. By that time, I don't think my kids or anyone's kids who are starving or in a dangerous situation can wait 15, 20 years for you to come here and start working.
What did we say that we could get when we get there?
LPS farmer.
No, we did not say that.
How did you approach the conversation with your kids?
They know the realistic part of it, which is that it will be very difficult for them to adapt to, especially mostly language-wise. That's like our biggest thing. They're not anywhere near fluent, and they are going to be going into a school that is Spanish-speaking. Who's that? That's you.
For Sasha, leaving the
U.S.
U.S.
That's Spanish speaking. I mean, nah, sis. You might as well start them out on the right foot and get them learning that English, ma'am. Best to get them off right.
also means saying goodbye to the
If you want
places
them to speak Spanish, take them back to Mexico with you.
she's called home.
You grew up at this house. What is it like for you to leave this house and what it represents to you?
It is definitely hard because, yeah, there's a lot of good memories. This has always been like the kind of comeback place. As far as we know, we won't be able to do that. We've kind of all decided that today is most likely the last time that we'll all be like in the same place at the same time.
Hours of research behind them, the Mendoza family spent their final days in Pittsburgh saying goodbye to family and friends. It's a decision not taken lightly, but for Julio, no other choice.
Rolling the dice will be staying here. That will be rolling the dice. Playing with my life, playing with my kids' life, playing with my wife's life.
I mean, yeah, because eventually ICE was gonna, eventually ICE was gonna come after that guy. Like, let's be honest, they weren't too far from that, famous knock on the door of just like, hey, yo, it's ICE, need y'all to step out. And now everybody's just like, oh, you're separating a family and all that good stuff. You guys are terrible. And we just gotta sit there like, hey, the law is the law.
Will be a gamble. I would say it's taking a gamble. I'm taking a certain win on this one, for sure.
Now, Anderson, Sasha, and Julio are now settling in.
Hey, it's better than that. Way better than that.
In Mexico, but they join a newly emerging community of people who are voluntarily departing the United States. It's called self-deportations, and it's part of the Trump administration's strategy. Senior Trump officials have touted it often, and they've taken to the airwaves with multi-million-dollar ad campaigns and offering financial incentives like one-way tickets to the country where they have legal status and $1,000 exit bonus once they arrive. But for Sasha and Julio, they didn't need that. It was the uncertainty of what was to come with the immigration crackdown that was enough to get them to leave. But also, Anderson, what we learned over the course of this reporting is it's not just undocumented immigrants making these decisions, but also the U.S. citizens that they are married with or have children.
The Pentagon just confirming 2,000 California National Guard troops are being withdrawn from Los Angeles, nearly 5 weeks after the anti-ICE protests ended. Of course, taxpayers footed the bill for those 5 weeks. Those poor guardsmen couldn't come home. The protests that Trump said he was sending troops in to quell, right? They ended 5 weeks ago, sending in those troops against the wishes of Governor Gavin Newsom. Let me just show you this video because I shot this video on June 10th in downtown LA. That was the first day that I was looking around saying there's a heck of a lot of National Guard here and there are no protesters. At that time, there were no protesters, but plenty of National Guard. But those troops are only being sent home now, more than a month later. Comes as Governor Gavin Newsom takes on President Trump over sending in the troops in the first place.
It's a weakness masquerading as strength. That's what I don't like about this son of a bitch. I don't. And forgive me, I know he's the president of the States.
Damn.
Forgive me, I didn't, yeah, he calls me new scum. Come on. How do I explain that to my kid?
New scum.
Comes as new data shows Trump's signature issue.
I mean, come on now. A lot of people have been calling you new scum for a while. I think Trump just picked that one up.
Immigration may be starting to backfire. Harry Enton is out front now to tell us something we don't know. But Harry, this is crucial. So Trump is betting big on immigration. His administration is, right? You see Homan out there all the time. Is there any deterioration in support for what's happening?
Absolutely there is. You mentioned it. Immigration had been Donald Trump's big issue. It helped get him elected back in 2024. It was his best issue overall. We look at the net positive approval rating back in early part of June before, of course, all these protests, the ICE raids actually started. You see it right there on your screen, plus 5 points on June 6th. Look at what has happened to his net approval on immigration. It has gone down underwater, now at minus 3 points, an 8-point move tied, in my opinion, directly to the ICE raids and then the protests. People do not like what Donald Trump's currently doing on immigration.
No, and that's a really fast move.
Yeah, right. But we're going to go ahead and end it on that little propaganda spiel right there, trying to say that, oh, no, nobody likes this immigration. They try to feed us the sob story. And here's the thing. That did not touch my heart, not one bit. Nope. She needed to go. It had to happen. Sorry, but you came in here illegally. She has so much time to get that figured out. The fact that she didn't is just pure neglect. But it is what it is. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close it out on this one. But guys, make sure you guys double tap the screen, like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the support, guys. It's Set with Set Media, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace. Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't. But let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI SET, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is Set, and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor.